Chapter 1948. Deja did not know what she was thinking, but when he thought that she was willing to teach him this method, he was rather touched. However, when he learned it and went to interrogate those people one by one, he realized that she did not have any good intentions at that time. She only said feed, so that she would not have to do these things. Hence, he found the other two DE and DR and taught them this method, allowing them to interrogate those people and extract useful information from their memories. After DE and DR learned this method, it was much more convenient for them to interrogate the criminals later on, and they also obtained a lot of information. After Sima Yue taught Deja the method, she immediately handed the task of interrogating to him. "Leave the main sect to me," Deja said. "You still say that it's better to have less contact with people from the Soul clan, do you understand?" Her soul was really too tempting. If she was not his aunt's daughter, he might have already laid his hands on her. Especially the Soul clan, who were even more fanatical about souls. He might not be able to control himself when he saw her. Hence, it was better for her not to have any contact with those people. Sima Yue also knew that her soul seemed to be very delicious, but she was not powerful enough now, so she should have less contact with those people. "Cousin, have you seen that general from the Soul clan?" Sima Yue asked. "Not only have we seen him," Deja scoffed. "That person used his underworld beast's power to provoke me many times, but in the end he fled. He's not a big deal. But I heard that he's very powerful." Sima Yue did not believe his words. Looking at his expression, it seemed like he had suffered a lot at the hands of the other party. "You still don't believe me?" "I don't believe you," Sima Yue said honestly. "About Western Emergence region and Immortal Witch region." Sima Yue saw that he was about to lose his temper, so she quickly changed the topic. "What did you find out?" "I didn't find out anything," Sima Yue said. "Those people are very careful. Although I've already confirmed that those people have been bewitched by the Soul clan, I didn't find the people controlling them." "Tell me who those people are. I'll take care of the rest," Deja said. Okay. Sima Yue was happy that he liked to take care of things. She did not have to care about anything anymore. Deja could tell what she was thinking, but he didn't want her to get involved in the Soul race's affairs. He just wanted her to be happy. "Tell me what you know, then continue to let your scarlet bees keep watch. If there's any news, just send it to me," Deja said. Sima Yue thought for a moment, then took out a scarlet bee and handed it to him saying, "This is a new queen bee. Although it's not as powerful as mine, it still has some scarlet bees under it. As long as you form a contract with it, you will be able to contact the bee below it. When the bees reached a certain stage, they would give birth to a new queen. The new queen would then leave with the bees and rebuild a new hive. She already had a few queen bees in her spirit pagoda, but none of them could be compared to hers. Hers was the real queen bee, the queen of 10,000 bees. You're giving it to me? Deja looked at the scarlet bee excitedly. He knew that Sima Yue used the scarlet bees to gather information, and was envious that she had such a convenient contract beast. He didn't expect that she would give him one. I don't have much use for the ones that were formed, Sima Yue said. This way, you will be the first to know what your bees find out. Okay. This is indeed useful to me. I won't stand on ceremony with you. Deja took the scarlet bee and formed a contract with it. Sima Yue then took out the rest of the scarlet bees. You don't have a contract with these. If you don't have a place, you can just let them follow you outside. They have a connection with the queen bee. You will be able to know what they tell you. There's no need to go through so much trouble, Deja said and kept all the scarlet bees. It turned out that he also had a space that could contain life. Then you can investigate the rest yourself. I won't call my bees back. I will just monitor the progress, Sima Yue said. Okay, Deja agreed. Although she always threw this matter to him and didn't care about it, she still cared about it. Oh, it's almost dawn. Cousin, you must be tired after such a long journey. Why don't you go and rest first? Sima Yue said. Deja stood up. I still have to go to the nuclear plume to discuss the current situation. You stay here and don't run around for the time being. Understand? Deja said. Cousin, what are you worried about? Sima Yue asked. Since the Ruin Valley arranged this, he might be nearby. He is a soul eater and is very sensitive to souls. If he finds you, it will bring you some trouble, Deja said. I understand, Sima Yue replied. Okay. The shopkeeper here is my man, so you don't have to worry about tonight. Deja left and the people in the room left as well. The inn finally regained its peace. Phew, Sima Yue sighed and muttered. Cousin is so fierce when he pulls a long face. Wu Lingyu smiled. He's worried about you. I know, or else I would have beaten him up long ago, Sima Yue said. But it's good that he's here. We don't have to care about this anymore. Wu Lingyu looked at her and smiled. Although she didn't have to care about this anymore, she definitely wouldn't ignore it. She just said that she didn't have to take responsibility, so she could do whatever she wanted. They returned to their rooms to rest. Sima Yue slept until noon the next day. When she woke up, she saw Wu Lingyu with a dark face and Mou leisurely drinking tea. She rubbed the space between her eyebrows. These two people were too strong. She actually couldn't sense their existence. When did my room become a place where you can come and go as you please? She sat up and looked at the two with a dark face. Wu Lingyu stared at Mou. He only noticed this guy entering Yue's room. He wanted to chase him out, but the two of them would definitely wake her up if they fought, so he could only stare at him. Mou ignored Sima Yue's anger. He looked at her and said, I want the scarlet bees too. That Deja, when he went back last night, he showed off to him that Yue gave him the scarlet bees. He was so cocky and deserved a beating. What are you doing here? Sima Yue rolled her eyes. You gave it to him, so I want it too. I don't want him to show off in front of me again. Mou said. Sima Yue pursed her lips. Deja actually did such a stupid thing, and even showed off in front of him. The person in front of her was even more speechless. An old monster who had lived for so many years actually came to ask for things from her for such a reason. Where was his shame? Chapter 1949. Sima Yue felt that when Mou and Deja were together, they were like children, competing in everything. After being nagged by Mou for a while, she still gave him a nest of scarlet bees in order to shut his noisy mouth. Now that you don't care about this matter, I can follow you guys, Mou said. Seeing that she was still unhappy, he continued. Alright, I'll tell you something to make you happy, how about it? What news can you get from the Duke's manor? Sima Yue was not interested in his words and said lazily. It's about the whereabouts of your mother's guards, Mou said. You know about it? Your cousin told me to tell you. He forgot to tell you because there were too many things going on last night. He found the whereabouts of Lung Feng and the other guards, but he didn't find out the details. However, the last place they appeared was in Fengling County, 50 years ago. That place is close to the Avicii Hell, Mou said. Close to the Avicii Hell? It seems like they guessed that mother is in the Avicii Hell, Sima Yue said worriedly. If that's the case, it'll be troublesome. During this period of time, she also learned about the Avicii Hell. Most people who went there would not return. If Lung Feng and the others went there, it was unknown whether they would live or die. However, with her strength, Ghost King and the others would not allow her to go there. Now she could only hope that they were not there. There's another news. Mou interrupted her thoughts. There's someone else investigating them. There's someone else investigating? Her fingers started tapping again. Who would care about Mother's former guards? Why were they investigating them? Have you found out who it is? Wu Lingyu asked. Not yet. Those people are very secretive. We haven't found out the power behind them yet, Mou said. Are we going there? Sima Yue thought for a while and said, let's not go for now. They appeared there 50 years ago, and we don't know where they are now. Even if we go, we won't be able to find anything. Let's wait for cousin to get more information. That's good too. Fengling County is very vast. If only the few of us go there, it'll be like looking for a needle in a haystack, Wu Lingyu replied. What I'm more concerned about now is the other group of people. Deja said that he has already sent people to investigate. He asked you to wait here for news. If there is anything, he will inform you, Mou said. Where's cousin? He went out of the city. From the looks of it, he's probably going to investigate the thing you guys created last night. Although all the people had been captured, that area would most likely be investigated. Moreover, he could also use this matter to investigate the soul race sent by the Ruin Valley. Sima Yue understood Deja's thoughts and was happy. This had created an opportunity for him. When the time came, he would say that he was looking for the whereabouts of the main sect. The people of the Ruin Valley would be on guard, but they wouldn't know that he was looking for them. "We've rested enough. Let's go out of the city for a walk," she said. "We've been staying at Xiangchun brothel for the past few days. We haven't met anyone outside the city yet. Your cousin asked you to wait here. Aren't you afraid that he'll be angry if you go? He's not here. I'm just going out to investigate the aftermath of the main sect," Sima Yue said in all seriousness. Mo rolled his eyes. "Like hell I'd believe you." However, he still went out with her. The past few days in the regional king's manor had been too boring. Now that Deja was here and had taken over the matter, he could be with her again. Sima Yue went out of the city. She first went to the main sect's old place to take a look. All that was left was a pile of ruins. Some of the residents passing by were surprised to see the ruins. When they heard from the guards that it was a space created by the soul race, they felt that it was unbelievable. They all thanked the regional king for protecting their safety. As for her, no one knew that she was the one who had put in the effort. "Do you feel that it's unfair?" Mou asked. "It's nothing. Cousin made this arrangement for my safety." Sima Yue didn't care about the false reputation. She was very touched by Deja's protection. If the people from the main sect knew that she was the one who had eliminated the forces here, she would be in trouble in the future. After staying here for a while, they went to the strange village. From afar, they saw the guards capturing some villagers. Didn't they say that they were going to investigate secretly? Why did they capture them? Wouldn't this alert the enemy? They're not only capturing those that you suspect, they're also capturing innocent people, Wu Lingyu said. Although the enemy will be suspicious, they won't take action immediately. As long as we can find out something from these people, we'll be able to gain something. I'm afraid that they won't give you the time to do so. Sima Yue wasn't so optimistic. The soul race had been restless for the past few years. These were just small skirmishes now. She was afraid that there would be more in the future. The ruler of the Soul Society, Qing Han, was about as powerful as her grandfather. If her grandfather could increase his power, then the two clans would be able to stabilize in the future. Otherwise, based on the current situation, there would be no lack of war. She saw that the people had been captured by Deja. They walked around the outskirts of the city and went back. That night, she heard that Deja had brought people to capture people outside the city. The next day, Deja sent news that most of the people from the Ruin Valley had been captured. The rest were alert and had escaped. However, Deja was quite satisfied with this result. In the past, it was almost impossible to catch anyone in this kind of situation. This was because the soul race would not speak at all. Moreover, they were sealed and could not say anything. Once they said anything, they would die. Therefore, even if they captured them, there wouldn't be much of an effect. This time, with the method that Sima Yue had taught them, they could directly extract information from their memories. It was fast and accurate. Not only did they know the people here, they also found some other clues. As long as they followed these clues, they would be able to completely destroy the Ruin Valley's plan. When the Ruin Valley received the news, they were so angry that they flattened an entire mountain. This Deja, he actually captured all of our people this time. He looked at the few people kneeling in front of him with a sullen face. There were so many people in the immortal Witch County, but only these few people had returned. Not only was their plan disrupted, it had even affected the plans of other places. One was the Western Arrival County, the other was the Immortal Witch County. Two important places had been exposed. To them, this was definitely not a small blow. "Master, this matter is too strange," the person kneeling on the ground said. "Our people definitely wouldn't say anything. Then how did Deja know about the others? He even uprooted the main sect and our forces. This matter is indeed strange." The Ruin Valley touched his chin. "What do you think?" "I also saw it by chance. Mou and a few people went to those few villages during the day. Chapter 1950. Suyu frowned. You're saying that Mou is involved in this matter? Hasn't he always been on bad terms with Deja? His relationship with Deja isn't good, but the key lies in the people around him. Who is it? If I'm not mistaken, she's the Ghost Realm's little princess who recently rose to fame in the Ghost Realm. Yukoluo's child in the human realm, Sima Yue. I think she looks 70 to 80% similar to Yukoluo. Then there's an 80 to 90% chance that it's her. Suyu said, I've heard some things about her in the Ghost Realm. Her temperament is indeed somewhat like her mother's. At that time, he had followed Qi He and accompanied Qing Hun to the Ghost Realm to propose marriage. He had seen Yukoluo, and she was indeed a fierce woman. Sima Yue's actions in the Ghost Realm were not small. Deja treats this little princess very well. The only difference between this time and the past is that Mou and her are involved. So this subordinate guesses that this matter should be related to them. Sima Yue. Suyu muttered Sima Yue's name, and the people kneeling on the ground felt chills all over their bodies. They knew Suyu's temperament, and knew that whether Sima Yue was related to this matter or not, he would remember it. But they didn't dare to say anything. If they could find someone to bear the anger for them, they wouldn't be stupid enough to provoke the fire back. The few of you, go back and receive your punishment. Suyu's anger lessened a lot. According to the past, they might not be able to live even if they came back alive. Now that they were only receiving their punishment, it was considered light. It seemed that this method of diverting disaster was indeed effective. Suyu waved his hand, and those people immediately left. Before he changed his mind, they quickly slipped away. The two guards behind Suyu saw that they escaped so quickly, and soon their shadows disappeared. They wanted to tell them that the punishment now was different from before, and even if they went back, they would only be left with half their lives. Master, we've already lost 2 counties. What do we do next? Suyu was silent for a moment, then said, Let's look at the situation again. If it's only these 2 places that were destroyed, then the rest of the plan will be changed. If he really has a way to know other things, then it will be really troublesome. Not long after, the Spiritas in 2 more counties were eradicated. This time, the Ruin Valley was convinced that Deja had grasped some method to find out about their people. The people from the other counties could not stay any longer. Otherwise, all of them would die here. Deja was very happy recently. Using the method that Sima Yue taught him, he no longer needed to go through so much trouble when interrogating people. He could just torture them until they exhausted their mental strength. All the information they received was fast and accurate, catching the Spiritas off guard. This had never happened before. It was a pity that the people from the remaining counties ran away too quickly. Otherwise, they would have gained even more. During this period of time, Sima Yue was in a semi-secluded state. She did not have to worry about the soul race, so she went into seclusion to cultivate. 2 months later, Deja came to find her. He said that the matter was more or less settled. The remaining people had already escaped. He also wanted to leave this place and return to the capital. He asked her if she wanted to go back with him. Sima Yue rejected him, saying that she wanted to gain experience before going back. Deja saw that Mou was accompanying her, as well as Black Shadow and the rest, so her safety was not an issue. Therefore, he did not insist on her leaving. After giving some instructions, he brought his people back. Sima Yue did not expect that the group of people she saved on a whim to gain experience would be such a big conspiracy. After Deja left, she also prepared to continue on her journey. Just as she was about to check out, Pai Ling came to the inn. She now had a much higher opinion of Sima Yue. Thinking about how she had thought of her as an ordinary princess, she felt her face burn. Princess Ling. Sima Yue did not expect her to come at this time, so she asked Wu Lingyu to check out. She and Pai Ling went to the lobby to talk. Little princess, I really have to thank you for this matter. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have known that I had so many soul race people here. It seems that we have been too relaxed in the past. Pai Ling said. What's important is that nothing happened. There's still the future. Sima Yue said. Yes. Pai Ling smiled. Little princess, are you preparing to leave? Where will the next place be? I haven't thought about this yet. After we go out, we'll just find a random direction and go. Sima Yue said. Since little princess has no direction, why don't you go to Feisty County? Where is it? What happened? Pai Ling nodded. I heard that the underworld beasts in Green Cloud Mountain have been acting strangely recently. Many people have rushed over. The underworld beasts in a place would not act strangely for no reason. Something must have happened, and it might be the appearance of a rare treasure. Sima Yue understood that Pai Ling had specially sent the news to her. She smiled and said, then I'll go and take a look. Right now, everyone only knows that there is something strange, but they don't know the reason, so it might be very dangerous. But Uncle Mou is with you, so nothing should happen. Thank you for specially coming to tell me this. At this time, Wu Lingyu had already checked out and walked over. Because it was Deja's property, he did not spend a single cent after staying for so long. Pai Ling saw that he was done, so she bid farewell and left. What did you talk about? Wu Lingyu asked. He said the next location. Sima Yue said. He said that the underworld beasts in Green Cloud Mountain in Feisty County are acting strangely. If they know so far away, it means that there is a big commotion there. Anyway, we haven't thought of where to go next. Why don't we go there and take a look? The others had no objections, so they went directly to the teleportation array. After going through 3 teleportation arrays, they finally arrived at Feisty County. As for Green Cloud Mountain, there was no need to ask anyone to know where it was, because there were too many people going there. Sima Yue and the others followed behind the main group. Seeing that there were people constantly overtaking them, she sighed. There are too many people going there. There are so many people. How could no one have discovered anything? Could it be that by the time we get there, the treasures have already been taken away? No, it won't. It's because there is no result that so many people are going there. Mou said. That's strange. Sima Yue touched her chin. It has been 3 to 4 months since the incident happened, and no one has discovered anything after such a long time. This means that the incident itself is a little strange. What is it? We will know when we get there. Mou did not care much about treasures. With someone like you who is very good at treasures, I don't think we will return empty-handed. Sima Yue patted his shoulder, looking like she had faith in him. Mou was speechless. Why did he feel like she was treating him like a treasure-hunting dog? What kind of analogy was that? Chapter 1951. Sima Yue and the others walked towards Green Cloud Mountain, and met a lot of people along the way. Those people were usually in groups. Groups with only a few people like them were relatively rare. They all made some disguises. In fact, Mou was stuck with some beard by Sima Yue, so that he would not be recognized so easily. Sitting on a rented flying beast, they flew for several days before arriving at Green Cloud Mountain. When they reached the periphery of Green Cloud Mountain, the flying beast refused to go in. So Sima Yue and the others let it go back and planned to walk in. Sima Yue stood at the foot of the mountain, looked at the continuous mountain range, and asked Mou, Here, do you sense any natural treasures? I don't feel anything. Mou said. I'm really curious. What's wrong with you Mo clan people? Why are you so sensitive to treasures? Sima Yue looked at Mou curiously. Actually, it's nothing, it's just that our ancestors have the bloodline of the underworld beast, so they are more sensitive to treasures. Mou replied. Then isn't this similar to Little Tuesday? Sima Yue said. He is also more sensitive to treasures. Why didn't I think of this? However, Little Two is sensitive to treasures after opening the power of his bloodline, but you Mo clan people all have the bloodline of the ghost race. Wu Lingyu said. My clan's bloodline is powerful. It's indeed very powerful. Sima Yue admitted. But it's still not as good as you. Mou said. Sima Yue didn't expect to be suddenly brought up to her, and was startled. From what she saw in the chaotic world, the 9 Netherworld clan that came out of the Black Lotus was directly born in that river, so their bloodline was naturally higher than normal. It has been passed down to now, and it has faded a lot, but it still can't deny their status. She had never seen the 9 Netherworld clan. She was a little curious. Why did her grandmother marry her grandfather back then? She was not in the palace, nor did she die, so where was she now? Why did she not hear any news about her mother when such a big thing happened to her mother? It was said that this grandmother did not stay in the palace for much time, and left after giving birth to her mother. She gave off the feeling that she was going to have a baby with the Ghost King. If she had the chance to meet this grandmother, she would have to ask her properly. Senior Marshal Brother, is what you said true? The abnormal movements of the nether beasts here are not due to the presence of a rare treasure? Yes. Are we still going in? Of course I'm going. Was it possible for there to be no reason for such a strange movement? Even if there are no rare treasures, there must be a reason for this. That's right, and haven't you noticed? The people who had come recently were all big shots. I'm afraid this place is more complicated than we thought. Who is eavesdropping? Sima Yue and the others were thinking that they had heard people talking about the treasure as soon as they came in. They did not expect to be discovered so quickly, even though they didn't manage to conceal their auras. They walked out from the big tree and saw the vigilant group. They said, "We're just passing by. We don't mean to eavesdrop on you." Do you think I'm just passing by just because you say so? Of all the places you could have passed by, you just had to pass by when we were talking about the treasure. This is too much of a coincidence. Moreover, you're hiding behind the big tree sneakily. Who would believe you? The only woman among them looked at them mockingly, as if she was mocking them for saying that their reasons were too fake. We've been resting here for a while. It's you who came here to talk about this. Moreover, we didn't deliberately hide our auras. Moreover, what you're talking about is not a secret. What's there to eavesdrop on? Sima Yue retorted. Nonsense. The woman shouted. It's not too much to kill vile people like you. Tisk tsk, how domineering. Sima Yue looked at her up and down. With the strength of the Nether Emperor, you dare to say that you want to kill people. It seems that the place you live in is not a well-educated place. Presumptuous. How can you insult our divine shadow palace so casually? Another man said. Did I say anything wrong? Sima Yue looked at them innocently. If she didn't have the backing of a powerful force, with her strength, would she dare to be so arrogant? In terms of background, she was the one who could be arrogant, but she kept a low profile. I'll kill you right now. Let's see who. Junior sister, back down. The leader of the men shouted at the woman and pulled her behind him. Then he bowed to Sima Yue and said apologetically, "This one is Shuang. Junior sister has been spoiled by mistress to the point that she is a little out of control. She has offended you all, please forgive her. When we return, we will definitely educate her well." Senior brother? The woman did not expect her senior brother to say this. She was shocked and felt wronged and dissatisfied. However, she knew that he was angry and did not dare to say anything. She could only glare at Sima Yue unwillingly. Sima Yue did not intend to do anything to them just because of a few words. She only nodded and left with the others. Once they were far away, Shuang finally stopped bowing. His face was so gloomy that it was scary. Senior brother. Everyone was afraid when they saw him like this. Senior brother, why did you stop me just now? The woman pouted and said unhappily. Junior sister, those people are not ordinary people. If you go up like this, I'm afraid you will die before you even get close to her. Shuang said. Isn't it just a few people? We have so many people here. Shui Shan did not feel that she had just walked through the gates of hell. Although there are only 5 of them, I can't see through their strength. This means that they are all stronger than me. Moreover, when you moved just now, the killing intent in the eyes of the 2 people behind the woman made me tremble. Shuang said. But they insulted us so much. Are we just going to let them go like this? Another person said unwillingly. How is that possible? Shui Ying's eyes revealed killing intent. Our divine shadow palace is not to be trifled with. We will just let them live for a few more days. When Master and the others come in a few days, we will wash away the shame of today. Senior brother is right. If we go against them now, it will be like hitting a stone with an egg. What we need to do now is to find the reason for the underworld beast's strange movements. When Master and the others come, we can tell them. Someone agreed. All right, then let them live for 2 more days. When father and mother come, I will definitely teach them a lesson, Shui Shan said hatefully. And let's go. We can't be too far away from them. If we lose them, Ash Cloud Mountain is so big, it will be troublesome to find them. Sima Yue did not know what they were thinking. Even if she did, she would not care. They were just some little ants. They really thought of themselves as green onions. What she was more concerned about was what had caused these underworld beasts to act strangely. If it was not the birth of a treasure, then what was the reason? Chapter 1952. They wandered around Ash Cloud Mountain for several days, but did not find anything special. When it came to the strange movements in Ash Cloud Mountain, they did not feel anything special other than seeing some rampaging underworld beasts. She caught a few underworld beasts to ask, but the underworld beasts themselves did not know what was going on. They only knew that there was a force controlling them, making them involuntarily. Since she could not get any results, she could only release those underworld beasts. The scarlet bees didn't find anything? Mou asked. No. Sima Yue shook her head. The news they sent back was that those underworld beasts were a little strange, and they did not find anything in the place where they gathered. There were no signs of a treasure being born. Mou had said earlier that there were no treasures here, so she was not disappointed when she came to this conclusion. It was just that the more she investigated, the more curious she became, and she could not help but want to find out. Boom! The sound of a duel came from the distance. They looked over and found that 2 more forces were fighting. They did not see any treasures, but many people had died. At this time, a group of people ran out from the side of the path and surrounded the 5 of them. Seeing the people coming out from behind the crowd, Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. It seemed that someone was determined to court death. Shui Shan and the others came out from behind the crowd and saw Sima Yue's group of 5 surrounded. She raised her chin and said arrogantly, "Father, mother, this is the person who scolded my divine shadow palace for being a bunch of uneducated people. She also said that our strength was too weak, and that we were not worthy of coming here. Not only that, they also want to kill our daughter. Father, mother, you have to uphold justice for your daughter." Shui Shan's father, Shui Shan's face darkened when he heard his daughter say this. He looked at Sima Yue with eyes full of killing intent. "Not only did you scold my divine shadow palace, you also want to kill my daughter. Little girl, you have guts." Sima Yue looked at Shui Shan's smug face and shook her head. "If I were you, I would wish I didn't have such a daughter. What's the use of a daughter who is full of lies and leads you to death?" "I'm not lying. You scolded us before and wanted to kill me. Father, if you don't believe me, you can ask senior brother and the others. They're all here." Shui Shan wasn't afraid of her father asking. Anyway, everyone had already unified their statements. Even if he asked, the result would be the same. Shui Shan had no intention of seeking confirmation. No matter what happened before, since they dared to bully the people of the Divine Shadow Palace, there was no need to let them go. "Little girl, I see that you're even younger than my daughter. If you're willing to kneel down and admit your mistake and destroy your own spiritual power, we'll spare your life." Shui Shan's mother usually treasured her daughter very much. She couldn't even bear to say a harsh word to her, but she actually wanted to kill her. If she wasn't in a hurry to find the treasure, she would definitely take her life. Sima Yue was amused. "You want me to kneel down? Destroy your own spiritual energy. That's right. This is already a light punishment for you, but you're not grateful at all. What's with that expression?" Shui Shan's mother shouted when she saw Sima Yue's disdainful look. "A crooked stick will have a crooked shadow. No wonder you're all the same." Sima Yue shook her head and sighed. "People like you, I don't know how you managed to survive until today. Father, look. She looks down on us and doesn't take mother's words seriously," Shui Shan said. "There's no point in keeping this kind of person. Mother is just too soft-hearted. And she's really annoying. Then let's kill her." Shui Shan originally only wanted to punish Sima Yue a little. If she was willing to do as he said, she would be able to keep her life. Since she was so stubborn and even insulted them in front of everyone, he wouldn't even give her a chance to live. What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and attack. Don't you understand what father means? Shui Shan shouted at the people. Those people usually listened to Shui Shan. Now that they heard her, they immediately attacked Sima Yue. You've got guts. Black Shadow and Huan's figures flashed. They only heard the sound of the underworld weapon entering their bodies. When it stopped, those people stood still. What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and attack. Shui Shan shouted. Pooh! Fresh blood spurted out. Those who were originally standing fell one by one. None of the people surrounding them were left. Everyone was killed in an instant. This scene was too exciting. The people from Divine Shadow Palace were all stunned. Those two people were actually so powerful. Shui Shan's face turned ugly. Not to mention the others, even he didn't see how the two of them did it. These two people's strength was far above his. Shui Shan was stunned. These people were actually so powerful? She didn't know if her father could beat them. She looked at her father and saw that his whole body was stiff. He stood still and didn't dare to move. She knew that he wasn't frightened. Divine Shadow Palace. Mou softly said their names. You've got guts. TSK, you're even more powerful than the king. Otherwise, how would you dare to make the king's favorite little princess kneel before you and destroy her own spiritual power? Little princess? Shui Shan and the others were stunned. This person was actually the little princess? How was that possible? Shouldn't the little princess be surrounded by a group of guards? How could there be someone like her? At this time, one of the people behind them suddenly shouted, That's right, she's the little princess. That time when we were outside, I saw them looking at the recording of the incident in Yangcheng. I glanced from afar and saw that person's back. It really looked like her. Don't talk nonsense. There are many people with similar backs. How can this prove that she's the little princess? Shui Shan's mother shouted. They weren't willing to admit that she was the little princess. Otherwise, their actions just now would be enough to kill them 1,000 times over. Thinking about the powers that had offended the little princess before, they were all exterminated by the Spirit King. Shui Shan was now regretting it. Why did he listen to his daughter and kill these people? There were clearly so few of them, and they didn't have the aura of the princess. How could it be her? Little princess, we had eyes but didn't recognize Mount Tai. We were wrong. Please let us go this time. Shui Shan's legs went soft as he directly knelt down and kowtowed to Sima Yue. Didn't you want me to kneel down and kowtow? Didn't you want me to destroy my own spiritual power? Why aren't you saying anything now? Sima Yue said. Little princess, it's all my daughter's nonsense. How would I dare to let the little princess do this? It's too late. I gave you a chance to live, but you didn't cherish it. I've said it before. You will regret having such a daughter. After she finished speaking, Black Shadow and Huan went up and killed all of them. TSK, little princess is indeed the same as your mother. She kills without batting an eye. A voice came from the sky, bringing with it a pressure that made Sima Yue feel heavy pressure. Chapter 1953. Wu Lingyu put his hand on her shoulder, and the pressure disappeared. However, it did not disappear, but was blocked by Wu Lingyu. Mou frowned slightly. This person was not here just now, but suddenly appeared. Although it was only a moment of delay, he was still one step slower. Who was it that came out at this time, and even pointed out Sima Yue's identity? It seemed like they did not come with good intentions. An old man walked out from the space, and soon 4 people came out from another space. Looking at their lineup, they had indeed come prepared. 5 ghost hands, old mountain granny, old man he, old mother Yunshan, old ancestor Qin. I really didn't expect that ghost concubine would be able to invite all of you. When Mou saw those people, he immediately guessed what was going on behind the scenes. We did not want to, but we owe her a favor. 5 ghost hands, who was the first old man to appear, said, Is that favor worth your lives? Mou raised his eyebrows. We have no choice. Cause at the time, effect at the present. Even if we were to die here today, it would still be our lives. At least we will not owe her anything in the future. 5 ghost hands said resignedly. Sima Yue looked at Mou. From his gloomy expression, these people were not easy to deal with. It seemed like Aniheim had spent a lot of effort to deal with her. Actually, we can only blame our bad luck. Who asked us to be the closest? Mountain Elder sighed. And what do you mean? Mou asked. Aniheim gathered a lot of people to deal with the little princess. We happen to be the closest. Mountain Elder said. Mou, with our relationship, as long as you don't make a move, we will not make things difficult for you. Mountain Elder, aren't you making things difficult for me? Mou sighed. You know she is the person I want to protect. Then we can only put aside our past relationship. Old Mother Yunshan snorted. Sigh, I will burn some paper for you guys in the future. Mou expressed his attitude. It is not certain who will burn paper for whom. Come. 5 ghost hands shouted and immediately attacked Sima Yue. As soon as he moved, everyone else moved as well. Sima Yue could tell that these were all old monsters on the same level as Mou. So she called out Mi-Air. Mi-Air and Old Mother Cloudy Mountain fought each other, and barely managed to fight to a draw. They fought all the way into the void. Sima Yue stood where she was and did not know what was going on. She could only stand there anxiously. At this moment, another group of people surrounded them from all directions. They were all dressed in black. When they saw Sima Yue, they did not say anything and directly attacked her. Ghost Concubine was thinking about how Sima Yue was able to trigger the lightning tribulation because Black Shadow and the others had helped her stall for time. However, this time, all the experts around her had been lured away, so she had no time to trigger the lightning tribulation. That way they could kill her. She had to admit that she was right, but not completely right. It was true that Sima Yue relied on Black Shadow and the others to summon the lightning tribulation, but she was not completely powerless. These people were not able to kill her. Actually, Aniheim's arrangements were already very thorough. She found 5 old men to deal with her. If it wasn't for Mi-Air, Old Mother Cloudy Mountain would have been dealing with her. With her ability, how could she be Old Mother Cloudy Mountain's opponent? And under such circumstances, she still sent these black-robed men to kill her. It could be said that she was very thorough. But she did not expect that Sima Yue's spiritual beasts were not ordinary. They actually forced those people to not be able to get close to her. Pa! Little Purple licked its claws and meowed at those people. Sima Yue hugged Little Purple and stood on the spot without moving. Charred corpses were piled up around her. How could it be? Although the remaining people surrounded her, they did not dare to go forward. Why did she suddenly release the lightning? Moreover, it was such a powerful lightning bolt. Almost every bolt of lightning that came down killed or injured several people. It's rare that you guys are so loyal to Aniheim. I'll fulfill your wishes. Sima Yue stroked Little Purple. I don't have the time and mood to waste with you guys. Let's end this quickly. She threw Little Z into the air. Little Z reluctantly stretched her body and lazily stretched herself. Meow. Meow. It opened its eyes and looked at those black-robed men. It was very unhappy. You made me unable to sleep properly. You ants, prepare to die. It pointed its finger, and a black cloud condensed in the sky. This black cloud was different from the tribulation cloud. But it still made people feel the pressure of the lightning. And it would also lock onto the person it wanted to lock onto. Oh no, we've been locked onto. This is not a tribulation cloud. Everyone run. Someone shouted. The others were stunned for a moment, and then flew in all directions. TSK, trying to escape? Little Purple was not anxious at all. It sneered and waved its claws. The black cloud in the sky immediately scattered and chased after those people. It actually chased us. Those black-robed men shouted as they ran. Looking at the black cloud above their heads, they could not stay calm. They were not afraid of spiritual power or fierce opponents. But they could not stay calm when facing the lightning. Someone condensed spiritual power and attacked the black cloud in the sky, trying to disperse it. But it did not have any effect at all. No, it should be said that the black cloud absorbed their power and became bigger instead. Pa! Thunder and lightning fell, accurately striking those people's bodies. They did not even have the chance to resist and were directly struck into black charcoal. The movement here had already attracted many people. Seeing this scene, they were all stunned. Is this a tribulation cloud? It's so powerful. This is not a tribulation cloud. There is no aura of a tribulation cloud. But it's more powerful than a tribulation cloud. Even if it was a tribulation cloud, with these people's strength, they could resist it once or twice. But this black cloud was clearly very small, but it killed people in one strike. Little Purple heard those people's words and snorted softly. It was the top-grade purple lightning. How could an ordinary lightning tribulation compare to it? And in the distant mountains, a little boy was sitting on the old tree on the highest peak. When he saw the movement here, he immediately threw away the walnut in his hand. Oh my God! After waiting for so long, she's finally here. He cried out twice, then jumped down from the tree and landed on a nether lion that was guarding below. Let's go and find her. Roar! The nether lion roared and ran towards the place with the black cloud. The little boy waved his little hand excitedly on its back. Found her, finally found her. Sob, 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 this woman is so hard to find. Sima Yue did not know that someone was running towards her. At this moment, she was looking at those corpses in a daze. Since there was no treasure here, could it be that these things were done by Anaheim in order to lure her over, so that she could kill her? Chapter 1954. After thinking for a while, she felt that this possibility was not big. If Anaheim wanted to kill her, she should not use such a high-profile way. If she knew her whereabouts, she would have been killed before she came here. On the contrary, in order not to cause trouble for herself, she should be quieter. And these people? She looked around and found the leader just now. Seeing that his body was not stiff yet, she probed his sea of consciousness with her divine sense. It turned out that, just like what 5 ghost hands and the others said before, they were allowed to come only because they were close to here. Anaheim knew that it would be a long time before she left the palace, and it would be too late to send someone to kill her. Later, when she found out that she had gone to the Mo clan, she had no choice but to wait for her to leave. Who knew that this wait would be 2 years? When she received her news again, she had already set off from the immortal witch city. To be able to find her in such a short time, it already showed that these people were not ordinary. Unfortunately, Anaheim still underestimated her. That's the little princess Sima Yue, right? That's right. There is no one else who can use lightning so freely except for the little princess. I didn't expect the little princess to come here too. Are those people going to kill the little princess? Who are those people? They are too bold. Aren't they afraid that the king will destroy their entire clan? Hee, who else would dare to go against the king and kill the little princess except for that person? Don't say it even if you know. Be careful not to be heard. You don't even know how you died. What are you afraid of? Do those people dare to come here now? Sima Yue was here. If those people came, they would be struck by lightning. If they were smart, they should hide far away at this time. So it was very safe here now. Boom, boom. A huge sound came from the inner circle, startling the people who were still in shock. What's going on? What's this sound? It seems that the underworld beasts are rioting. Everyone looked back and saw rolling yellow sand roaring towards them. They were so scared that their legs went soft. Beast tide. It's a beast tide. Why is there a beast tide suddenly? And it's coming towards us. What's going on? Is it because of the lightning just now? You fool. If it's because of that, they should hide even further away. That's true. Nether beasts are also afraid of lightning. Then why did they come here? Who knows? Heavens, there are so many of them. What are you still standing there for? Run. Although everyone was here for the treasures, no one dared to stay here under such circumstances. It was best to escape first. They would return after the beast tide was over. The word run woke many people up. The people who came to watch the show quickly ran in all directions. Some of them saw Sima Yue still standing at the same spot and shouted, "Little princess, the beast tide is coming. Why aren't you running?" Sima Yue smiled at the man. "I'm fine." That person was stunned. She didn't know if it was because of her smile or because of her confidence. He glanced at her again. Seeing that she had no intention of leaving, he continued walking. She had that purple cat, so there shouldn't be any problems. At least she could protect herself. Sima Yue jumped to the top of the mountain. Looking at the yellow sand churning in the inner area, she knew that the beast tide this time must be very big. It was very strange. There was clearly a battle here. Why would these nether beasts still come in this direction? Yu, there's someone. Little Z got up from her arms and looked in the direction of the beast tide. Are you sure? Sima Yue asked. Yes. I feel a different aura. Little Z said with certainty. It seems that this matter is indeed controlled by someone. Sima Yue looked at the approaching beast tide. Then let's see who is playing tricks here. The beast tide was very fast. After a while, they could clearly see the shadows of those nether beasts. However, at this moment, the beast tide suddenly stopped. Everyone found that something was wrong. So everyone slowed down their running speed, wanting to see what was going on. Someone stopped them. Little Z said, But Yue, you'd better go and see. What's wrong? The person sitting on the lion is a child. To be able to control nether beasts, a child, she almost immediately understood the identity of that person. The holder of the Dragon God Order. Now that he was stopped, it meant that someone knew that he was manipulating behind the scenes, and also knew his identity. In that case, those who stopped him should be aiming for the Dragon God Order. She really didn't expect to see this child here. If Mou knew, she didn't know if he would still fight in the void for so long. That child is in trouble, Little Z said. Those people are very powerful. Let's go and see. Sima Yue flew over there with Little Z in her arms. Soon, she saw the little boy who was surrounded by a group of people. The little boy sat on the back of the nether lion. Seeing the man in front of him, he was furious. He threw the walnut shell in his hand and shouted, I still have to find someone. Don't block my way. Kid, hand over the Dragon God Order, and we won't make things difficult for you. The leader covered his face, not wanting others to see his appearance. That's right. If they really snatched the Dragon God Order, they would be the public enemy of the entire ghost realm. At that time, they would not get a treasure, but a hot potato. No. The Dragon God Order is mine. You bad guys always want to snatch my Dragon God Order. I won't give it to you. The little boy stood on the back of the nether lion, one hand on his waist, and the other pointing at those people. Go eat them. Roar. The nether beasts swarmed forward, but these people were obviously not ordinary people. They still had some strength. Facing so many nether beasts, they were not directly killed, but dealt with it with ease. Do you think you can control the nether beasts? You haven't fully understood the power of the Dragon God Order, and it's a waste in your hands. You'd better hand it over obediently. You rest. The little boy closed his eyes, and the surrounding air seemed to have quieted down with him. Not long after, he suddenly opened his eyes, accompanied by the roar of the nether beasts in the depths of the mountain range. Divine Beast. The expressions of those people finally changed. They did not expect him to be able to control even the Divine Beast. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and get out of the way. I'm going to find that person who's releasing electricity. If you delay my search, I'll let them kill all of you. The little boy threatened. The aura of a few divine beasts came over, and it seemed that if they didn't listen, they would come over immediately. Those people hesitated for a moment, then said that they would leave with their people. The Dragon God Order was very important, but his life was equally important. This time he didn't bring enough people. Next time he would bring more people. Chapter 1955. Sima Yue was surprised when she heard his words. Could he be referring to her when he said that she was the one who could release electricity? Was he really like what those people said? Was she the person he had been looking for? It couldn't be. Sima Yue had yet to come back to her senses when the little boy suddenly jumped down from the lion's back and ran towards her. He raised his head and looked at her. Girl, you came from that side just now. Did you see the person who was releasing electricity? Aren't you afraid of me? Sima Yue asked. He was so wary of those people just now. How did he run to her so easily? You didn't want to kill me. Why should I be afraid of you? The little boy said. Tell me where the person who was giving off electricity is. I'll give you walnuts to eat, okay? With that, he took out a few walnuts and handed them to Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at the walnuts in his hand. They were the same ones she saw by the pond. She took the walnuts and held them in her hand without eating them. She asked, I can tell you, but you have to tell me. Why are you looking for her? You made such a big commotion just to find her? Yes. The little boy nodded. You took my walnuts. Tell me, where did she go? You haven't answered me yet. Why are you looking for her? Sima Yue said. I'm looking for her to save my life. The little boy replied. Save your life? Why are you looking for her to save your life? You haven't seen her before. How do you know that she can save you? Because. The little boy suddenly reacted and shook his head. I can't tell you this. Hurry up and tell me where that person went. She's going to leave soon. It wasn't easy for me to come up with this idea to find her. Sima Yue saw that he was anxious and stopped teasing him. She said, I'm the one who can give off electricity. Can you tell me now? You. The little boy took 2 steps back and looked at her from head to toe. You're different from what others told me. Are you really the one who can release electricity? Sima Yue condensed some lightning attributes. The lightning sizzled in her palm, making the little boy extremely excited. Wow, I've finally found you. Woo woo, if I still can't find you, I'm going to die. The little boy started crying as he spoke. If Sima Yue had not stopped him, he would have rushed to her side. Sima Yue looked at him in confusion. When he stopped crying, she asked, Who told you that I can save you? It's my second master. He's a very powerful divinator. The little boy said. He said you can save me. Why should I save you? Sima Yue held little Z in her arms and asked when she saw how sure he was. Someone told me that if I show you this, you'll promise me. The little boy took out a jade tablet and handed it to Sima Yue. Sima Yue was stunned when she saw the jade tablet. She took the jade tablet and looked at it carefully. She said, Who gave this to you? It's my master's friend. He said to give this to you when he sees you. He also asked me to tell you that he's fine, but he can't come back for the time being. The little boy looked at her expectantly. You'll save me, right? Sima Yue's tears fell down. Yes, I'll save you. Thank you. The little boy jumped up happily and took out a few walnuts for her. I'll treat you to walnuts. Sima Yue saw that he was so happy. She looked down at the jade tablet in her hand with tears in her eyes. He said that he was fine, but he couldn't come back for the time being. After so many years, she finally heard news of him again. Martial uncle, if Master and the others knew that you sent back news, I don't know how happy they would be. She murmured softly. This jade tablet said that it belonged to the old principal of the heavenly sect, her martial uncle Yuan Xiaojie. The familiar aura on it reminded her of the few times they met. Ever since he left with Su Jin and the others, there had been no news of him. She didn't expect that a strange little boy would come to her with his keepsake. Sima Yue looked at the nether beasts that surrounded them and said, Since you've found me, let these nether beasts go back. The little boy quieted down and said, That's true. You guys go back. A woo, roar. The nether beasts growled one after another, as if responding to him. Then they all turned and left. All right. The little boy clapped his hands and jumped in front of Sima Yue. My name is Fushi. What's your name? You don't know my name? I don't know. Second master didn't say. He just said that he would send me to the world where you are, that you can discharge electricity, and that you can save me. He didn't say anything else. When Fushi said this, he complained to second master. Second master likes to pretend to be a swindler. He always speaks half of the words. If he told me directly who you are, would I have to look for you so hard? He always likes to say that the secrets of heaven can't be revealed. TSK, he's just pretending. Sima Yue saw his angry little face and heard his complaints. She laughed. Wasn't that right? Divinator liked to use this sentence to fob others off. She didn't know if he really couldn't say it, and he even said that they didn't know. However, from the jade tablet given by the old principal, they knew her identity. They just didn't tell her. My name is Sima Yue. Sima Yue said. You've been in the ghost realm for so long. Haven't you heard of my name? Don't you know that I can discharge electricity? The little boy shook his head. I accidentally showed my control over the underworld beast before, and then they guessed that I have the dragon god order. I've been hiding in the mountains for the past 2 years, and then I thought of this way to lure you here. I had no choice. If I didn't find you, I would have died. Is it that serious? Sima Yue looked at him. His complexion was all right, and he didn't look like he was going to die. It's true. Fushi said. Don't think that I'm fine now. Maybe I'll die one day. Let me take a look at your body first. Sima Yue grabbed his wrist and checked him. When she found out about his situation, she couldn't help but widen her eyes. How old are you? 250 this year. Fushi pouted. This number was really annoying. When did you get the Dragon God Order? More than 7 years old. Since then my body hasn't grown. If it weren't for Master and the others who tried their best, I'm afraid I wouldn't have lived until now. Fushi said rather sadly. Fortunately, a few years ago, Second Master suddenly said that he had a way, and then sent me here. Sima Yue also checked the condition of his body. If it weren't for them thinking of many ways, he really wouldn't have lived until today. Then did your master say how to save you? Chapter 1956. No. Fushi shook his head, but Master said to find someone who can release electricity. It should be related to this. You want me to strike you with electricity? Sima Yue asked. No. That will hurt. Fushi looked at her in horror. He was afraid that she would suddenly strike him with a bolt of lightning. If that happened, he would die. Don't worry, since you have the old principal's jade token, I won't kill you. Sima Yue patted his head. I will study it carefully before making a move. I feel that your smile is so scary. Fushi shrunk his neck, muttering in his heart that the person Master found was not reliable. How am I scary? I am just interested in you. Sima Yue laughed. This is the first time I have seen such a situation. You have quite the research value. You want to treat me as a lab rat? Fushi shouted. Sima Yue glanced at him. Do you have any other ideas? All right, he didn't. He could only be treated as a lab rat by her. You don't have to be so scared. You also know some things about the Dragon God Order. Wait for him to come down. Maybe he will have some ideas. Sima Yue saw his face scrunched up like a bun and said with a smile. MOU? Don't tell me it's that MOU? Fushi's face was even more embarrassed. He hoped that the MOU she was talking about was not the MOU he met before. However, Sima Yue smashed his hopes with a smile. It's the MOU you tricked before. How do you know him? Why don't you not wait for him? Let's go now. Fushi looked around, afraid that MOU would suddenly appear. Hee, what did you do to him? He is so scared. Sima Yue was very curious about what happened between the two. One was so scared, the other was willing to follow her to find him. This was probably not an ordinary trap. Actually, it's nothing. Fushi said. I took a very ordinary thing and sold it to him, saying that it was a treasure and sold it for a high price. He's never seen that thing before, and it has our spiritual power, so he naturally thinks it's not an ordinary item. But if you study it carefully, you'll find that it's actually useless. Sima Yue knew why MOU was angry. He was an all-powerful figure in the ghost realm, but he was deceived by a little girl. It was not a big deal, but it was a loss of face for him. Later, when I heard his name from others, I realized that I had tricked a very powerful guy. I knew that these old men didn't care about money. They only cared about their reputation. So if I met him, he would definitely cause me trouble. So Yue, let's leave quickly. Fushi looked at her pleadingly. Sima Yue shrugged. It's too late. He's already back. Ah! Fushi screamed and jumped up. He looked left and right and finally ran behind her. He stuck his head out and asked, Where? Sima Yue pointed to the sky. Fushi looked up and saw a few people coming down from above. When MOU saw Fushi, he immediately went up and picked him up. His face was as ugly as the stone in the latrine. You brat, you actually dare to appear in front of me. See how I'll deal with you this time. As he said that, he slapped Fushi's butt. Ah, Yue, I'm going to be beaten to death by him. You have to save me. Fushi cried out. You're not a child anymore. There's no use crying. Mou said as he hit him a few more times. Take it easy. Don't hurt him. Sima Yue warned Mou. Yue, I'm your man now. If you don't save me, I'll lose my life. Fushi screamed and looked at Sima Yue pitifully. But his words made Wu Lingyu's face darken. You're saying that you're one of her people? The bone-chilling voice made Fushi shudder uncontrollably. Who was this person? Why was he so fierce? Yue already agreed to take me in. Of course I'm her man. In order to get rid of Mou, Fushi chose to ignore Wu Lingyu's ugly face. From his point of view, Wu Lingyu was not as dangerous as Mou. It was more important to save his life. Just as Wu Lingyu was about to explode, Sima Yue grabbed him and said to Mou who was hitting Fushi, his body is very weak now. He'll calm down after a few hits. That's right. At most, I'll return it to you. Fushi nodded in agreement. It would have been better if she didn't mention this. Now that she mentioned it, Mou's anger rose again. He picked him up and hit him a few more times before letting him go. Sima Yue showed the old principal's jade tablet to Wu Lingyu and said, he brought this here. That old man is still alive. Wu Lingyu looked at the jade tablet. His cold face finally relaxed. Sima Yue told them about Fushi's situation. Only then did they understand the cause and effect of this matter. It turned out that he was the one who took care of everything. He made them come here for nothing and even encountered an assassination attempt. But without him, they wouldn't know about the old principal's situation. Mou, you have some understanding of the Dragon God Order. Do you know how to save him? Sima Yue asked. Save what? It's best if this kind of person who's full of lies dies. Mou said lightly. Fushi broke free from his hand and ran to Sima Yue's side. He made a face at him. Okay, I'm talking to you about serious matters. Sima Yue protected Fushi. Although she knew that he was 250 years old, his body still looked very deceptive. Moreover, he was someone introduced by the old principal. No matter what, she had to help him solve this matter. First, tell me, where did you come from? Mou asked. This is a secret. I can't tell you, Fushi said. Why can't I tell you? People who come from our place can't say the name of that place. This is the rule. Fushi insisted. Other than this, you can ask about anything else. But I'm interested in your place. Only when I know where you come from can I use this to see if your body is different from ours. This. Fushi hesitated for a moment. Anyway, we're much more advanced than your place. You just need to know this. Sima Yue and the others looked at each other. A continent that was more advanced than their place? And he couldn't just tell anyone. That place, Wu Lingyu grabbed Fushi's hand. With a sweep of spirit energy, a small wound appeared on his hand. Fushi held his hand and cried out. Golden blood flowed out from between his fingers. Although it was very little, it still stunned everyone present. As expected. Wu Lingyu and Mou said at the same time. The two of them looked at each other, and their eyes were the same. They already knew the place Fushi was talking about. It was a place that only existed in legends. Chapter 1957. Everyone welcomes you. Please remember the address of this website, so that you can read the latest chapters of Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Divine Doctor. Sima Yue looked at them in confusion. What did they know? Fushi was even more surprised. He looked at the two of them and asked, how did you know? It's simple. People with golden blood can only be found in that legendary place. Mou said. I didn't expect you to say that you came from that place. No wonder he couldn't recognize the thing that Fushi took out. No one had ever seen the thing from that place. I won't say anything. I won't say anything. I won't say anything even if you ask me. Fushi covered his mouth. He looked as if he didn't want to know anything from them. Where is that place? Sima Yue asked. It's a place where gods live. Wu Lingyu said. I always thought it was just a legend. I didn't expect it to really exist. Sima Yue recalled the scene she saw in the chaotic river. Those creatures that came up from the river all left in the end. As for where they went, no one knew. It seemed that other than the 9 Nether clan, everyone else had disappeared. Perhaps, they really went to a higher level place. Since your place is higher level than this place, why can't you solve your problem? Sigh, I'm also depressed about this. But there's no way. Fushi sighed. Maybe if I were here, I would have died on the spot. I wouldn't even be alive now. That's true. Then let's go back and do some research. See if we can find a way to solve your problem. Sima Yue said. Did you kill all those people? No. This answer surprised Sima Yue. Did these guys have a change of heart? Mou said that they were all his old friends. That's why they were only heavily injured and not killed. However, this is the only time. Wu Lingyu said. With this, they can be considered to have answered to the Oniheim. That's why they won't find trouble with Yue in the future. Mou explained. If there's a next time, they'll be dead. Black Shadow snorted. Let's leave this place first. There are many people coming here. Sima Yue said. Alright. They wanted to fly away, but Fushi grabbed onto Sima Yue's clothes and said pitifully, bring me along, I can't fly. Wu Lingyu pulled his hand down and said coldly, I'll take you. Fushi shrunk his neck and thought to himself, why is this person so cold? It's too scary. He wanted to protest because he did not want him to bring him along, but Sima Yue had already flown away. Looking at the remaining Mou, he decided to forget about it. What if he threw him down from midair? This kind of old man's personality was too difficult to grasp. It was better for him to follow this ice block. They left the Blue Cloud Mountain range. Once they were far away from the crowd, Mou called out the little red bird and left. After flying for a long time, they finally arrived at a small, inconspicuous city. They went to find an inn to stay in. Mou very heroically booked the entire inn, making the shopkeeper extremely happy. Fushi followed behind Sima Yue and said, Yue, when are you going to do it for me? He felt that he was losing control of his power. He was afraid that he would suddenly die one day. Sima Yue understood his worries. It was the same as when she saw her power increase. It was like a ticking time bomb. Who knew when it would explode? Don't worry. Since I promised you, I will do my best. She patted his head. But not now. Why? We have to get rid of those people who are following us. If I start treating you without a stable environment, it will be irresponsible of you. Sima Yue said. Although those people won't cause any danger, they are still a problem. Someone is following us? Aren't they afraid of you and Mou? Fushi asked. Their status was not something that ordinary people could compare to. Following them like this, weren't they afraid of being killed? For the mythical dragon order, there will always be people who will take risks. Sima Yue said. You were introduced by the old principal. I will ensure your safety. Fushi heard her words and looked at her blankly. Her smile was so comfortable. Although her words were not passionate, he could feel her determination. She said that she would ensure his safety. He believed her. He smiled at her, and his round eyes narrowed into thin slits. Those who knew him well knew that this was his true smile. You haven't rested for a long time, right? Go find a room and have a good rest. I will call you after we take care of those people. Sima Yue said. Yue, why are you so good to me? Fushi looked up and asked. You were introduced by the old principal. I believe in his judgment. He will not introduce some rascal to me. Moreover, I understand your anxious and worried feelings. Sima Yue replied with a smile. You also understand? Yes, I know what it feels like to have an uncertain force in your body. Why? Have you experienced it before? Yes. I have experienced it before. Do you know why I came to the ghost realm? It was because I could not control the force in my body. In the end, my body exploded and I died. So, I understand your feelings. I will not let you experience that kind of pain. Sima Yue comforted him. His agitated heart finally calmed down. How long? It had been since he was so quiet. He looked at her back view and his lips moved. His innocent eyes surged with a layer of darkness. She was really a woman that he could not see through. However, he liked her and wanted to get close to her. She was different from those people, right? Wu Lingyu stood in front of him and blocked his view. He looked at him coldly. Fushi thought he would say something, but he only gave him a look and left. What a possessive guy. Fushi muttered. I am just a little girl, but he is so fierce. Although his heart was not like that. Perhaps this time, not only can I heal my body, I will also have an unexpected gain. He smiled and hummed a little tune. He skipped to his room to rest. Just as Sima Yue said, he had not had a good rest for a long time. Although he could let the underworld beast protect him when he walked in the mountains, he had never really relaxed. He was either worried about being hunted down or thinking about when his body would explode. Now with her, his heart had calmed down. He could also sleep peacefully. If even she couldn't do anything about it, then perhaps it was the end of his life. I have almost finished all the walnuts I cracked. When I have time, I will crack some more and invite her to eat with me. Chapter 1958. Everyone welcomes you. Please remember the address of this website, so that you can read the latest chapters of Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Divine Doctor. They knew that many people were chasing after them. Although they couldn't help but sigh at how bold they were, they also understood the attractiveness of treasures. It wasn't surprising that they would do something like this. Therefore, they didn't want to kill those people directly. Instead, they stayed in the inn for 2 days and left quietly. As for where they went, no one knew. Those who followed them couldn't find them after searching around, so they could only leave unwillingly. However, they didn't give up, and went to other places to search. After waiting for them to leave, Sima Yue and the rest appeared in the inn again. Alright, it's finally quiet now. Sima Yue said to Fushi after realizing that everyone had left. Let's study your situation now. Okay. Fushi had long thought about it. Seeing that she was finally going to study him, he jumped up and down happily. Yue, what do you want me to do? Tell me about your situation in the past. And what did your master and the rest do? Sima Yue said. When I was 7 years old, I made a bet with someone, and ran into a ruin alone. Then I found the Dragon God Order there. Later, my father and the rest told me that it was the Dragon God ruins. However, other people went there many times and couldn't find the Dragon God Order. I don't know why I found it. Fushi was speechless. If those people found the Dragon God Order, he wouldn't have to suffer for so many years. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows when she heard this and said, I heard Mou say that the mythical dragon order carries most of the strength of the mythical dragon, and some of its consciousness. I heard that it will choose its master by itself. Maybe it chose you. Otherwise, why can't other people find it after so many times, but you, a 7 or 8-year-old kid, found it? Sigh, my master and the rest said the same thing. Fushi sighed. But if it really chose me, why didn't it consider my body? Ever since he made a contract with the Dragon God Order, his body had stopped growing. Until now, he still looked like he was 7 or 8 years old. His master said that it was because the power of the mystical Dragon Order was too strong, and his body couldn't bear it. Instead of giving him strength, his body's functions were suppressed, so he couldn't grow up. Maybe I've waited for too long, but it's useless to think about it. Sima Yue guessed. What did your master get for you? Actually, it's just some medicinal herbs to strengthen my body. These are the lists I've used before. Fushi took out a thick stack of papers. Some of them were medicinal herbs, while others were pill formulas. Sima Yue looked at the pill formulas in astonishment. They described in detail the effects of the pill, the ingredients needed to refine it, and the process. My master said that since he asked for your help, these are his thanks. If you can cure me, I will give you a great gift. Fushi said. Sima Yue didn't have much expectations for the big gift that he was talking about, but she liked the pill recipes quite a bit. She looked at the pill formulas carefully. She felt that they could be used to strengthen her body, which was what she needed now. But now wasn't the time to think about it. She continued to look at the remaining medicinal herbs. She was amazed by the medicinal herbs in their place. It was indeed much better than the medicinal herbs she had seen before. Your master is quite thoughtful. Now that I've seen the pill formulas you gave me, I can't not treat you properly. Sima Yue said her master's thoughts. She placed the stack of papers on the table, and tapped it lightly with her right hand. Master did say that. Fushi sat in front of her. He took out a few walnuts and placed them in front of her. Then he took 2 walnuts and ate the pulp. You like eating walnuts? Sima Yue looked at the walnuts. She hadn't eaten the ones he gave her before. Master used to force me to eat them. He said that it was good for me, so that I wouldn't be stupid. After I got used to it, I started to like it. Fushi said, try it. It tastes pretty good. Sima Yue picked one up. It had already been cracked open, but she still had to use some strength to pry it open. She picked out the pulp and tasted it. It tasted pretty good. Once she ate it, she could feel the vigorous spiritual energy inside spreading throughout her body. What surprised her the most was that the spiritual energy didn't scatter around. Instead, it all merged into her bones. It seemed like Master Fushi had found this for her to strengthen her body. This shell is too hard. It's not easy to crack it open, Fushi said. But I found a piece of metal recently. I didn't expect it to be so useful. So when I'm free, I use it to crack it open and save it to eat. Can you keep these shells for me to study? Sima Yue asked. Sure. I don't have any use for them anyway, Fushi answered straightforwardly. Are you going to use them to refine weapons? I heard that it's possible, but I haven't tried it yet. Sima Yue did want to try refining weapons. These are the last few. I'll crack some more for you. Fushi took out a pile of unopened walnuts and then took out a black, squarish lump of iron. He smashed it hard, and cracks appeared on the hard walnut shells. After 2 more knocks, the walnut shells returned to their half-open state. Sima Yue was a little surprised at how hard this piece of metal was. She knew how hard the walnut shells were. Even Mou and the rest couldn't break them. This piece of metal was actually able to crack them open with just a few knocks. It could be seen how powerful this piece of metal was. Fushi cracked a pile of walnuts and placed them all in front of Sima Yue, saying, "These are all for you." Sima Yue looked at these walnuts and said, "These walnuts aren't cheap. You're giving them to me just like that? It's hard to find, but I have a lot. You don't have to be polite with me." Fushi smiled at her. "Then I won't be polite." Sima Yue knew that he definitely had his own secrets. Since he said so, she didn't have to be polite with him. "What are you guys talking about?" Wu Lingyu and Mou walked in from outside the courtyard. Seeing the 2 of them talking and laughing in the pavilion, they walked over and asked, "We're talking about these walnuts." Sima Yue pointed at the walnut shells. "I wanted to try refining them. He gave me a pile. These are all already cracked. This shell isn't easy to crack," Mou said. "He has a piece of metal. It's very useful. He can crack one in 2 or 3 knocks," Sima Yue said. "Oh, normal things aren't that hard. You this fellow, don't tell me you're using a divine weapon to crack walnuts?" Mou asked. "No way. No matter how I look at it, it doesn't look like a divine weapon. Even if it is, it's a broken divine weapon. Because no matter how I use it, it doesn't have any reaction. There's no spiritual energy fluctuation at all. It's just a normal piece of metal," Fushi said as he took out the piece of metal and placed it in front of everyone. Mou saw the appearance and his breathing tightened. Chapter 1959. Mou looked at the lump of metal and couldn't believe his eyes. It couldn't be real, right? But the shape was exactly the same as what he had seen before. He picked up the lump of metal, took a deep breath, and then turned it over. The faintly discernible north character at the bottom burned his eyes. "It's really this. Where did you get this?" he said excitedly. "Ah, I picked it up in the mud." Fushi didn't know why he was so excited, but it seemed like it was a treasure. Sima Yue looked at Mou in shock. When did he become so agitated? Even Wu Lingyu had a look of disbelief. "What is this? Why are you guys so excited?" She took it from Mou's hands and looked at it, injecting her spiritual energy into it, but found that there was no reaction at all. Wasn't this just a piece of scrap metal? Fushi also looked at her curiously, saying, That's right. What kind of treasure is this?" "North God Seal." Mou said, "Look at this." He turned the North God Seal over and pointed at the faintly discernible North character, saying, "The 4 God Seals all look the same. The only difference is the word at the bottom." It really looks like a word. Sima Yue and Fushi came over and saw the faintly discernible word. But this word is really hard to recognize. I couldn't recognize it even after knocking for so long. I thought it was a pattern. MOU, is this really the four-god seal? Sima Yue said uncertainly. No matter how she looked at it, it looked like a piece of scrap metal. Could it really be used to save her mother? I'm not very sure. MOU was also hesitant. After all, the North God Seal has disappeared for many years. What did you say? Sima Yue's voice suddenly rose, startling MOU, who was deep in thought. Only then did MOU realize what he said, secretly cursing himself for accidentally saying such a big thing when he saw this. He wanted to laugh it off, but Sima Yue stared straight at him, making him unable to say anything. He could only look at Wu Lingyu for help. Sima Yue also looked at Wu Lingyu and asked, "You know about it too?" He was the one who insisted on telling me. Wu Lingyu saw that her aura had changed and hurriedly went forward to grab her shoulders. At this time, her body had already begun to tremble uncontrollably. You don't be anxious. Didn't we find it? If this is true, isn't it just nice to find one? But what if it's not true? Look, it's just a piece of scrap metal. It doesn't even have any spiritual energy. How does it look like an ancient artifact? Sima Yue looked up at him. If this isn't real, what should we do? What should Mother do? Is there a need for me to persist? Wu Lingyu had never seen her like this. He didn't care that there were other people around and hugged her tightly. He patted her back and comforted her. If this isn't true, you don't have to worry. Even if we have to risk our lives, we will break that ancient seal and save your mother. You see, I've waited for so many years for her to come out so that I can marry you. Why would this stop me? Moreover, I think that this is most likely true. Really? That's right. Look at how hard this walnut is. We can't even crush it with our spirit energy, but it can be smashed with a single blow. How can ordinary things be so powerful? Wu Lingyu analyzed. So I think this should be real. After he finished speaking, he glanced at MOU. MOU immediately agreed. Indeed, ordinary spiritual artifacts aren't this powerful. So don't panic. Let's verify it first. Fushi saw that Sima Yue suddenly changed and was shocked. He asked, "Yue, what's wrong with you? Do you want this? I'll give it to you. Don't be like this." As he spoke, he placed the Northern God Seal in her hand and looked up at her. Nothing must happen to her. She was the only person who could save him. If something happened to her, what would he do? Sima Yue held the Northern God Seal and took a deep breath. She tried to calm herself down and said, "How can we confirm if this is true?" "I'm afraid we'll have to ask your grandfather to confirm it," MOU said. "If we put the two seals together, we should be able to see if this is true." "Then let's go back to the palace," Sima Yue said. "Fushi, come back to the palace with me. After we confirm this, we'll deal with your matter. Is that all right?" Fushi looked at her. "Is this very important to you?" "Yes, this is what I've been working towards all these years. If this is fake, she didn't know what would happen to her." "All right then, I'll go back with you," Fushi said. "But you have to protect me." Sima Yue revealed a grateful smile and nodded. "Yes, I'll definitely protect you." MOU and Wu Lingyu saw that she had calmed down and let out a long sigh. Fortunately, she had this with her when she found out about this. At least she still had some hope. Even if it was proven to be fake, she had been mentally prepared for such a long time. At least she wouldn't break down when the time came. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thinking of this, MOU looked at Fushi with a much kinder gaze. He really had to thank him for this. If he didn't bring this over, they wouldn't know what to do. Fushi sensed MOU's goodwill and raised his chin at him, looking extremely proud. Without waiting for MOU to reply, he turned his face and didn't look at him. MOU pursed his lips. "This little brat. Since we're going back, let's go now," Sima Yue said. "We'll use the fastest method to go back." When MOU and the others went to make arrangements, Fushi finally had time to ask her, "Yue, is this four cardinal god seal very important to you? What do you want to do with it?" "It's very important," Sima Yue nodded. "My mother was suppressed in the abyss of hell. Because of evil people, the seal that suppressed my mother was replaced with an ancient seal. Only the 4 cardinal god seal can break it. My mother has been suppressed for more than 100 years. I've always wanted to save her as soon as possible. But my grandfather said that he would only tell me the whereabouts of the 4 cardinal god seal when I break through to the underworld paragon level. Now that I think about it, he probably knew that the North cardinal god seal had disappeared for many years. That's why he used this reason to brush me off, so that I wouldn't lose my goal. I see. I hope this piece of metal is real. Fushi then understood why she lost control just now. If he knew that all his efforts were in vain, he would probably have the same reaction. Thank you, Fushi. Regardless of whether this was real or not, he gave this to her. She would still be grateful. Chapter 1960. Looking at Sima Yoyue's serious eyes, Fushi narrowed his eyes and smiled. I like you very much. I'm very happy to be able to help you. Sima Yue touched his head. I will definitely find a way to solve your problem. Well, I believe in you. Fushi also nodded seriously. Believing in her, a woman he had just met, would have seemed strange in the past, but now he just believed in her. If those people in that place knew about it, their eyes would definitely pop out. Soon, Mou came to inform her that they could set off. Although Heiying and Huan were a little surprised by her sudden departure, they didn't ask anything and followed her back. Everyone in the palace knew that she was going to come back from her experience. They thought that they wouldn't see her for decades. They didn't expect her to come back so soon. Little princess. Shiyu looked at Sima Yue and was overjoyed. Little princess is back. Leng Yin ran over excitedly and saluted her. Standing in front of her, she didn't know where to put her hands. Little princess. Yang Hui and the others restrained themselves, but the corners of their mouths showed their mood at this time. When Sima Yue saw that they were all fine, without missing an arm or a leg, her worried heart was relieved. They didn't come to make trouble for you, right? No. Because the Ghost King said that before you left, you said that no one was allowed to come to Yuhua Palace, so no one came. Little Highness wanted to come before, but she was called back by Aniheim. Shiyu replied. Oh. Sima Yue didn't expect Aniheim to be called back by Yu Hao, but she could guess her thoughts. If she killed herself outside, the Ghost King couldn't do anything to her. After all, there was no evidence. But if she made trouble for her in the palace, under the Ghost King's eyes, it would be difficult to explain. Moreover, standing at this height, she didn't put a few palace maids in her eyes. Little princess, didn't you send a message that you were going to come back from your experience? Why are you back so soon? Shiyu didn't want Sima Yue to worry about them, so she asked. Something happened, so I came back early. Sima Yue said. Is grandfather still in seclusion? That's right. Ever since little princess left, His Majesty went into seclusion. He didn't even come out to host the previous competition between the dynasties. This has never happened before. Leng Yun said. In the past, no matter how busy I was, even if I was out of town, I would still rush back to preside over it. This time, it was unknown whether or not he had comprehended the opportunity to advance, but he had been in seclusion. However, that doesn't seem very likely. His Majesty is already a half-step sovereign emperor. He can't advance any further. Yes, in the current world, that was indeed the case. There were no imperial emperors in this world. After becoming a half-step imperial emperor, one would not be able to advance any further. This was something that everyone knew. It was also because of this that Aniheim was not worried about the Ghost King's closed-door cultivation. No matter how much he cultivated in seclusion, he would not be able to advance any further. So, if he wanted to torment himself, then let him torment himself. Anyway, when he wasn't around, she could better seize power. Just like the previous competition between the dynasties, in the end, most of the people became her people. Many dynasties also formally submitted to her power. When he came out of seclusion, he would not be able to do anything to her. Only Sima Yue knew that there were still imperial emperors in this world. Feng Ruyen relied on a secret method to advance to imperial emperor. Although she was not recognized by the heavenly Tao, she was still an imperial emperor. Since she could do it, then he could too. However, before he succeeded, he couldn't say anything about it. Moreover, it was better that they had such thoughts now. At least they would not interrupt his cultivation. So you are the Ghost Realm's little princess. Fuxi sized up youthful palace and said, although the things here look simple, they are all treasures. Your position in the Ghost Realm is quite high. Does that mean you can do whatever you want in the Ghost Realm? Do you think I look like one? Sima Yue smiled. No, you seem to have a huge enemy, Fuxi said. You guessed right. That enemy is now in the palace. What? In the palace? Yes, the most powerful woman in the palace. What? Why did you come back like this? Aren't you looking for death? Don't worry. She won't dare to touch me here, Sima Yue said confidently. Why? You know. Sima Yue said. But it's only limited to here. I don't care if you go out. Little princess, this child is. Shiyu asked. His name is Fuxi. He is a child I met outside. He will be staying here for a while. Shiyu, arrange for him to be together with Lingyu. Sima Yue ordered. Yes, little princess. Shiyu and the others were very curious about Fuxi, but seeing that Sima Yue didn't plan to say anything, they didn't ask anymore. Instead, they said to Fuxi, Little master, we will take you to rest. Fuxi looked at Sima Yue and was reluctant to leave. Sima Yue said to Black Shadow and Huan, You two go with him. Fuxi, aren't you curious why Anaheim didn't dare to touch me in the palace? They will tell you if you go. Although Fuxi didn't want to leave her, he also wanted to know why. So he could only follow Leng Yun and the others. After he left, Sima Yue said to Yang Hui, Can we go find grandfather now? The king has been in seclusion and won't see anyone. But now that you are back, I don't know if the king will see you or not. Yang Hui said with uncertainty. The king seemed to be in seclusion and wouldn't see anyone. Since he didn't participate in the dynasty meeting, and even heard that Anaheim didn't see him when she went to find him, it was even more unlikely that he wouldn't see anyone else. But the little princess was very special to the king, so he didn't know if the king would see her. Sima Yue was a little hesitant. The matter of the 4 cardinal heavenly seal was very important to her. She couldn't wait to know the results. But cultivation was also very important to the Ghost King. And she didn't know what stage he was at now. Was he at a critical moment? She couldn't just disturb him rashly and delay him. After hesitating for a while, she still went to the place where the Ghost King cultivated. At this time, 2 new guards were guarding the door. When they saw her, they bowed respectfully. Little princess. Is grandfather still in seclusion? Sima Yue asked. Yes. After I left, did grandfather come out? No. Oh. She looked at the door and hesitated. In the end, she didn't go over. She said to the guards, When grandfather comes out, tell him that I'm back. Yes, little princess. Sima Yue looked at the door reluctantly. In the end, she made up her mind and left. This matter should wait until he comes out. Chapter 1961. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book Webno pop-up window, free to read. Fuxi was listening to Leng Yun talk about how Sima Yue made Anaheim suffer that time. When he heard that she actually did that and scared a lot of people, he couldn't help but laugh. He couldn't tell that she actually had such a black-bellied side. What are you laughing about? Sima Yue walked in and asked when she saw Fuxi rocking back and forth with laughter. We're talking about your matter. Fuxi said. You actually injured that old witch, and she can only suffer that. Just thinking about it makes me happy. Your sense of substitution is really fast. Sima Yue couldn't help but laugh when she thought of what happened that time. Why are you back so soon? Huan asked. Grandfather is in seclusion. I didn't disturb him. Sima Yue said. Let's talk about it when he comes out. I'll check your body first. She had already understood his situation before and knew what his master had used on him. Now she needed to know more about his situation. Are you going to deal with my matter first? Fuxi asked in surprise. Wasn't she so anxious before? He thought that she would deal with that matter as soon as she came back. He didn't expect her to be so considerate of others. Let's take a look first. We'll talk about that matter when grandfather comes out of seclusion. Sima Yue brought Fushi into the house and then asked Shiyu and the others to go out and guard. She began to give Fushi a comprehensive examination. Fushi felt her spiritual power wandering around in his body. Although she was underworld power, she didn't feel cold. Instead, it was warm and comfortable. After a while, she retreated with a slight frown on her face. How is it? Can I still be saved? Fushi asked very carefully, afraid of hearing a negative answer. Second Master said that she was his last hope. If even she gave him a death sentence, then he really had no hope. There's no way for the time being. But I feel that the power in your body is about to lose control. I'll think of a way to suppress it first, and then I'll think of a way to make it completely fuse with your body. Sima Yue said. Fortunately, your master has given you a lot of good things over the years, which greatly strengthened your body and gave you a chance. How are you going to suppress it? Seal it for the time being, Sima Yue said. This way, you won't have to use the power of the dragon god for the time being. If you can't, then so be it. I'll be in the palace. You'll protect me. Fushi agreed without hesitation. Sima Yue smiled. Yes, I will protect you. Yes. Then come. I don't want to worry every day. Although Fushi spoke with confidence, his twitching eyebrows revealed the fear in his heart. I can't do it. Mou or Lingyu, you choose one. Sima Yue said. Fushi hesitated for a moment, but still chose Mou in the end. Although this old man still held a grudge against him for tricking him, he wouldn't settle the score with him over this. As for the other one, she was too possessive. If she wasn't happy that he was with her and couldn't control himself, what would he do? Sima Yue wasn't surprised by his choice and asked someone to call Mou over. When Mou found out about this, he agreed to help. If it wasn't for Fushi, the Seal of the North would be troublesome. Therefore, it was not a big deal to help. After much thought, the power in Fushi's body was finally sealed. Finally! Fushi felt relaxed and didn't have to be in fear every day. Don't be happy too early. This will only last for a few months. Even if only a small part of the power of the dragon god enters your body, it won't be easy to deal with. Mou poured cold water on him from head to toe. Also, if you still can't think of a way after a few months, you can go back and see your family for the last time. Fushi wasn't surprised by this news. He sat on the chair and swung his legs, saying calmly, If I don't do this, I will die at any time. This way, I can at least live peacefully for a few months. Sima Yue saw the loneliness in his eyes, but didn't say anything to comfort him. At this time, other than finding a way to cure him, anything else would be useless. I have an idea. Wu Lingyu, who had been silent all this time, said. What idea? Everyone looked over. I remember that in your memory, there is electroshock therapy that can help people whose heart has stopped. Wu Lingyu said. You're saying that I should use electroshock therapy? Sima Yue asked. Since his second master asked him to find you who can release electricity, it might be because of this. However, this is just my guess. Wu Lingyu said. Then what should we do? Use lightning to strike Fushi? Lung Yin felt pain just thinking about it. Fushi thought that if the lightning struck him, he would probably be reduced to ashes in a single strike. He stared at Wu Lingyu, thinking that he did it on purpose. How could he use electricity to save people? He wanted to use this method to destroy himself. However, Sima Yue's eyes lit up and said excitedly, Maybe it really can be done. Yue, you're not really going to use lightning to strike me, are you? Fushi looked at her pitifully, hoping that she was just saying it. Lingyu is right. Electroshock therapy is indeed a good idea. Sima Yue gave him a reassuring idea. Electric current can revive a stopped heartbeat. It should also be able to stimulate the recovery of your stopped growth. We can try. Ah, you really want me to be struck by lightning? If I can't even take one, won't I die? Fushi looked at her in fear, hoping that she could think of another way. Don't worry, it's not the kind of lightning that you think it is. Sima Yue said. Then what should we do? You'll know when the time comes. I'm going to refine some pills for you now. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she went to her alchemy room and refined some healing and body protection pills for Fuxi. After she left, Fuxi glared at Wu Lingyu. His eyes were filled with undisguised accusation. Wu Lingyu ignored his gaze and left without even saying a word. On the other hand, Leng Yin and the others sympathized with Fuxi. His body was sick, and he had to be struck by lightning by the little princess. How pitiful! Thus, during the few days that they were waiting for Sima Yue to come out, they were especially good to Fuxi. They fulfilled all his requests and really treated him like a child. After a few days, Sima Yue came out. When Fuxi saw her spirited eyes, he subconsciously shrank his neck. "Come on, let's start trying now," Sima Yue said. "Eat this first." Seeing that Sima Yue was serious, Fuxi took the pill, gritted his teeth and ate it, as if he was going to die. Chapter 1962. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up windows free to read. Sima Yue laughed and pointed at him. You don't have to be like this, right? It's not as painful as you think. Ha. Fuxi blinked and suddenly felt that something was wrong with his body. He could not move his limbs. What's wrong with me? Sima Yue shook her head and said, You didn't even ask what the pill I gave you was. Didn't I trust you? Fuxi said. But what did you give me? It's an anesthetic. It can make you lose consciousness temporarily and reduce a lot of pain during the electric shock. Sima Yue explained. There's such a pill? Didn't you feel the effects? Sima Yue asked Yang Hui to carry him to the bed. Yue, if you do it here, you won't destroy the entire youthful palace, right? Won't you scare those people again? It's not what you think. Sima Yue moved a stool to the side of the bed and grabbed his hand, saying, Although I've anesthetized your body, it might not be able to relieve your pain completely, so you have to bear with it for a while. After the anesthetic wears off, you might still feel pain. I understand, Fuxi replied. Also, I'll use a small amount of electric current to test your tolerance. At the same time, Lingyu will observe your condition. If you have any problems, you have to tell me. Sima Yue reminded him. Okay. Hearing her say this, Fuxi knew that it was not the direct electric shock that he thought it would be. He was relieved and less afraid. Sima Yue took off his clothes. Wu Lingyu was on the other side, injecting spiritual energy into his body and observing his condition. I'm starting, Sima Yue said as she condensed a trace of lightning element in her hands. Fuxi saw the electric current flowing in her palms and swallowed his saliva. He watched as she flipped her palms and pressed her hands on her chest. The pain that he expected did not come. He did not even feel anything, so he did not know if there were any changes to his body after being electrocuted. The effect that your master gave you to strengthen your body is showing, Sima Yue said. I'm going to increase the electric current. The electric current just now was based on the amount that a normal person could withstand. However, his body did not have any special reaction. This meant that this amount of electric current was nothing to him. She increased the flow and injected it into his body. Then she controlled it to attack his internal organs, bones, and meridians. Ugh! Although the medicinal pill had numbed his nerves, Fuxi still felt some pain. If it was not numbed, he would have fainted. Sima Yue released it once and rested for a while before coming again. She only stopped after hitting him 5 times. Wu Lingyu was connected to Fuxi. Although he could release electric current now, Sima Yue's electric current still hurt him. Lingyu, it's done. You can rest now, Sima Yue said when she saw that he did not look well. Wu Lingyu nodded. He retracted his spiritual energy and rested at the side. Sima Yue checked Fuxi's body. She realized that the cells that had stopped growing had some reaction. Although they had not started to grow, it meant that this method was effective. She told Fuxi the result. Fuxi smiled. Indeed, she had a way. When will we do it again? He was eager to grow up. At least 5 days later. Sima Yue said. That long? Can't it be earlier? I'm fine. Why do we have to wait so long? Don't be anxious. Don't be happy too early, Sima Yue said. You don't feel anything now. but when the anesthetic wears off, you'll be in pain. 5 days is my conservative estimate. Ah. Fushi was worried. He thought that he would be fine after the anesthetic wore off. Sima Yue took out a pill and fed it to him, saying, "This is for healing. But don't expect it to stop the pain." "Oh," Fushi replied. Although she made it sound serious, he was still very happy. After so many years, his body was finally going to grow again. He was really looking forward to it. However, not long after, he could not smile anymore. The crushing pain in his body almost made him faint. "Yue, why is it hurting so soon? Anesthetic is not good. Of course, the shorter the better. So I didn't take too long." Sima Yue said, "This is your first time. You'll get used to it, and it'll be much better. Are you sure you won't feel more pain the more you do it?" Fushi bit his lips. Sima Yue suddenly pried his lips open and stuffed a clean cloth in to prevent him from biting himself. "That's how I went through it." She recalled the past and was full of emotions. "I even controlled the electricity for you. The first time I did it, I was barely hanging on to my last breath. I got used to it slowly." "You're amazing." "It's not that I'm amazing. It's that I don't have a way out. It's not that I don't want to do it." Sima Yue said, "Luckily, I got Little Purple with the help of my contract beast. That's why I didn't turn into ashes during the lightning tribulation. But even now, I'll use a part of the electricity on my body every time I go through the tribulation. I use the lightning to refine my body." Fushi's eyes lit up. Could he do the same in the future? Sima Yue saw through his thoughts and smiled. "I'm giving you these now to refine your body. At least in the future, your resistance to lightning will be much stronger than ordinary people." "Thank you." Fushi shouted at the towel and couldn't speak clearly. "Your body has stopped growing long ago. If it starts to grow again in the future, I'm afraid you'll feel pain. You have to understand this, so you don't have to panic if you encounter it in the future. Yes. As long as it can grow again, it's okay even if it's painful." Fushi said. "Then rest well. When your body recovers, we'll do it again. Okay." The intense pain in his body made him want to do it again immediately. If he did it again, his life would probably be over. After Sima Yue helped him, she went around him to Wu Lingyu's side and held his hand to check. "It's okay. You'll recover after taking some pills and resting. Let Fushi rest well. Let's go out first." Wu Lingyu left with her. Fushi looked at his back and snorted. This guy, other than being a little possessive, seemed to be pretty good. Well, he wouldn't hate him in the future. It really hurt. Thinking about how many times he would have to go through it in the future, he felt bitter. He suddenly wondered if his master and the others knew about it, so they didn't tell him anything. Chapter 1963. Everyone welcomes you. Please remember this site's address, so that you can read the latest chapters of Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Divine Doctor. Fushi laid on the bed for 2 days before the pain slowly subsided. However, Sima Yue did not immediately give him the next electric shock. After a few more days, when his body was completely healed, she gave him the second electric shock. After the second time, Mou came over and saw Wu Lingyu resting at the side, as well as Fushi with a pale face and Sima Yue who was packing her things. "Yue." Sima Yue turned her head and looked at Mou. "You're here." "Twice, how is it?" Mou asked. "See for yourself," Sima Yue said. Mou raised his eyebrows and came to Fushi's side. He stretched out his hand to check him and said, "Not bad, it's starting to take effect in such a short time. I think it will start to grow again after a while." "Indeed." Sima Yue nodded. Seeing Fushi's pale face, she said doubtfully, "Actually, Fushi's situation is troublesome, but it's also simple. As long as we seal the Divine Dragon's power and stimulate his body to grow again, it'll be fine." "You're right. But if we can think of this, why can't his master and the others? That's impossible, right? Isn't their place even more powerful? How can they not think of this?" Sima Yue said doubtfully. Master said. Fushi opened his eyes and said weakly, "They can't touch the power in my body. Only people with the power of divine beasts can do it." For divine beasts? That's right. Fushi said. You have divine beasts, right? That's why you can move the power to a place and let you seal it for me. I see. Then you didn't look for his divine beasts? I don't know what happened that year. 4 divine beasts. The divine dragon died and injected all its power into the divine dragon order. The other 3 divine beasts were scattered all over the world. Thousands of worlds, 3 divine beasts. It's not easy to find them. Fushi explained. You're saying that the battle happened in your world? Sima Yue asked. Yeah. Fushi said. Master said that after those divine beasts went through the battle, they were injured and went into hibernation. If they didn't come out on their own, no one would be able to find them. It turns out that your master knew that only those with 3 divine beasts could help you in your situation. Then your second master is really a fraud. Why? Although my second master is usually a charlatan, there are many things that he can calculate accurately. Fushi said. You see, since he knows that only 3 mythological beasts can save you, that means you've been looking for the whereabouts of the mythological beasts. It just so happens that our old principal went there and became friends with your second master. Then, wouldn't he know that I have a divine beast? Sima Yue analyzed. But master doesn't know that you've come to the ghost realm. Moreover, does your old principal know that you have a divine beast? That's true. Sima Yue nodded. But I heard that meeting-related people would be the medium for the divination. Perhaps the old principal is that medium. That's very possible. Fushi agreed with this point of view. I heard second master mention this before. I don't know where the 2 divine beasts are. Sima Yue touched her chin. I'm a little curious about the other 2 divine beasts now. I think they shouldn't be here with us. Wu Lingyu said. Everyone knows that you have divine beasts. If they're here and know this news, they should come looking for you. That's true. Looks like we won't have the chance to meet them. Sima Yue said with some regret. That's not necessarily true. You can just come with me to our place. Fushi said. My master said that the 4 divine beasts will go back in the future. Then you will be able to meet them. They'll go back. Sima Yue shook her head. Crimson Flame didn't say that. Crimson Flame? Your contracted beast, Crimson Flame? The divine bird, Vermilion Bird? Fushi was so excited that he wanted to get up, but the pain in his body made him grimace. Sima Yue nodded. Seeing his shining eyes, she rejected him directly. You won't be able to see him. I almost died last time. Although I was saved in the end, my contracted beasts were all seriously injured. Crimson Flame is now in closed-door cultivation. I can't interrupt him. Moreover, if someone came and said that they wanted to see him, then he would only be able to live a peaceful life. Fushi was very disappointed. Then he became excited again. What about the flame? I heard that Crimson Flame's flame is very powerful. Can you let me see this? This request was very easy to satisfy. She opened her hand and the vermilion bird jumped in her palm. Fushi's eyes widened. He wanted to reach out and touch it, but Sima Yue dodged and scolded him. Don't you want your hand? Hee, I was too excited and forgot. Fushi retracted his hand and collapsed on the bed. I really didn't expect that I would be able to see the Nirvana flame. TSK, those fellows are always bragging about how powerful their flames are. Let's see if they can still show off when they see you next time. Let's talk about it later. You should recuperate first. Sima Yue said. Really, you're obviously injured to the point where you can't move, but you still dare to touch me. If your body recovers and you lose an arm because of this, how am I going to explain it to you? Hee, I'm too excited. Fushi thought about his actions just now and felt a little scared. Fortunately, Sima Yue was alert and immediately moved it away. Okay, you should rest. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu left, leaving him alone to continue being excited. Sima Yue returned to her palace. She was thinking about Crimson Flame's matter and did not speak. She wanted to ask Crimson Flame if he really wanted to go there in the future, but he was not willing to tell her before. If she asked now, he might not tell her. Thinking about some of his previous reactions, his sometimes blurred eyes, He probably wanted to go back for revenge. If he really wanted to go back for revenge, she would accompany him. No matter who their opponent was, she would accompany him all the way. Don't worry, Crimson Flame is not a reckless person. If he wants to make a decision, he will definitely say that he has thought it through carefully. Wu Lingyu comforted. Yes. Sima Yue nodded. But with his personality, he doesn't want to say anything. That year, the 4 mythical beasts were defeated by the other party. I don't know who the opponent is, and I don't know if they are still there. Mou said. Before you understand these things clearly, you and Crimson Flame should not act rashly. Crimson Flame won't. At this time, Shiyu came in from outside and bowed. Little Princess, 99th Princess is here. Chapter 1964. Everyone welcomes your presence. Please remember the address of this website to read the latest chapters of Crazy Wife, Miracle Dr. 5th Miss. At any time, Sima Yue looked at Shiyu. Who is this Princess 99? How many princesses are there? Princess 99 is the daughter of Xing Wang. She's the cousin of the little princess, and is also a princess personally conferred by the king. Shiyu explained. Princess 99 used to be around the same age as the little princess and had a good relationship. After that, she followed Wang Ye to the dynasty and rarely came back. Then why is she looking for me? Sima Yue asked. She should know that you're back, so she's here to see you. Shiyu said. Princess, do you want to see her? Since I'm already at Yuhua Palace, let's see her. Sima Yue waved her hands, and Shiyu immediately invited her in. Princess 99, please. Sima Yue heard Shiyu's voice and looked up. She saw a woman with an enchanting figure in a lean red dress coming in from outside. Auntie? Yuanwan saw Sima Yue and was stunned. Yue greets Princess 99. Sima Yue bowed slightly and stood properly. Yuanwan recovered herself and smiled. They all say that you're very similar to your mother. I thought I saw her again just now. Indeed, both of you look alike. Princess 99 you. We're all from the same generation. You can just call me Cousin Wanwan. Yuanwan said. Yes, Cousin Wanwan. Sima Yue readily agreed. She didn't like to be called with such a long name either. Father and I knew that you were back long ago. However, as we were preparing for the dynasty competition, we didn't come back in advance. I thought that I could see you during the dynasty competition, but I didn't expect you to not be in the palace. After hearing the news, I ran over to take a look. Cousin Wanwan, thank you for your concern, Sima Yue said politely. Back then, Auntie and I agreed that we would get married and have children together. I didn't expect you to be so big in the blink of an eye, Yuanwan said with a sigh. Sima Yue did not know what to say. She just smiled. She was just his cousin, right? Why was she acting like an elder? Yuanwan didn't notice this. Instead, she asked her a lot of questions. Whatever she asked, Sima Yue would answer. I heard that you want to save little auntie? Yuanwan asked. Sima Yue was confused. How did she know about this? You don't have to be so surprised. My relationship with Deja is still alright. Yuanwan explained. Sima Yue understood. How could this go over? The relationship between the two of them was definitely different. That was why he told her such a secretive thing. It was rare for him to have a good relationship with someone. Actually, we weren't that close in the past, Yuanwan explained. In the past, both of us didn't see eye to eye with each other. It was only after Little Ant's incident that we could sit down and talk properly. However, what we're talking about is the intelligence we've gathered over the years. So that was the case. Both of them had a good relationship with their mother. Hence, when something happened to their mother, both of them could sit down and discuss how to save their mother. They were considered to be on the same side. Yes, I want to save my mother, Sima Yue admitted. Is the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon still with you? Yuanwan asked. You know about the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon too? She even knew that the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon was with her. Of course, I know about the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon. I even secretly gave it to Deja. I initially wanted him to go to the Immortal Land to collect the ancient war souls. However, he came back and told me that he lost it. After I asked him again and again, he told me about your existence. Yu Wanwan gritted her teeth as she talked about this. She was unhappy that Deja hid the whereabouts of the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon. The 100 Ghosts Gonfalon is with me now. Since she knew about it from Deja, Yue didn't hide it from her. Then give it to me for a period of time, Yu Wanwan said. Lin said before that this is to be used to save mother in the future. If cousin Wanwan wants to take it back, Yue can't agree to it. Sima Yue rejected her. Regardless of what Yu Wanwan wanted to do with it, she wouldn't agree to it. If anything happened, she couldn't take this risk. You're thinking the wrong way. I'm not going to do anything with it. Yu Wanwan said. I found another ancient battlefield some time ago. This time, I've confirmed that there are still war souls inside. Hence, I want to use the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon to capture them. There are more spirits inside. When the time comes to save Auntie, we'll be more confident. Cousin Wanwan? Sima Yue didn't expect her to actually want to do this. Although that place hasn't been discovered yet, the people from the Soul Clan have been searching for these ancient war souls. If they discover it, it'll be troublesome. Hence, we have to race against time. It's best if we can rush over now, Yu Wanwan said. Yu Wanwan. Deja's exasperated voice could be heard from outside. Both of them looked over and saw Deja walking in with a black face. Why are you so fierce? Are you trying to scare me to death? Deja was very scary when his face was black. However, Yu Wanwan wasn't afraid of him and glared back. I've said before that this matter can't be told to you, Yue. You ran into the palace in the blink of an eye. Are you ignoring my words? Deja shouted. If we wait for you to come and ask for the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon, how much time would that take? Yu Wanwan said. If we tell Yue directly, then Yue will know what we're going to do with the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon and give it to us. Deja gave her a look that said, You're an idiot. Then he sat on the other side of Sima Yue and didn't say anything. Cousin, what excuse are you using to take the 100 Ghost Gonfalon away from me? Sima Yue asked. Deja was unhappy. Yu Wanwan didn't understand him at all. Speaking of which, she wouldn't give the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon to Yu Wanwan, because they were meeting for the first time. However, if Deja came to find her, she might give it to him. Where is that ancient battlefield? Sima Yue asked Yu Wanwan. In a small realm. Yu Wanwan said. That small realm is attached to the ghost realm. That's why we found it by accident. Where is that small realm? Tss. Yu Wanwan paused and looked at her. Why are you asking so clearly? Are you going there? Since we know we definitely can't let those ancient souls off, Sima Yue said. Well, just leave this matter to us. That small realm isn't easy to go to, Yu Wanwan said. That place is very dangerous, right? Sima Yue didn't look at her. Instead, she looked at Deja. So you're planning to take the 100 Ghosts Gonfalon behind my back to collect the souls, right? Yes. Now there was no way to hide it from her. Cousin, you're already very busy usually. The matters at the Soul Society have already left you in a terrible fix. Let me handle this matter myself, Sima Yue said. She wasn't familiar with Yu Wanwan. Although she knew that she was a good person, she couldn't take the risk. Hence, the best way was for her to collect those ancient souls personally. Chapter 1965. Yu Wanwan finally understood why Deja chose not to tell her the truth. Yue, let me tell you the truth. That place is very dangerous. It's better that you don't go. Although you have very strong guards, it's better to be safe than sorry, Yu Wanwan said. If something happened and the guards couldn't protect her, what should she do? Cousin Wanwan, cousin didn't want you to tell me because he knows that he can't stop me after I find out about this. So you don't have to say so much. Tell me about that small realm. I'll go there and return quickly, Sima Yue said. Yu Wanwan looked at Deja and saw that his face was scarily dark. She knew that she might have really done something wrong this time. I'll go with you. That place isn't easy to find. Yu Wanwan said to Sima Yue. I was planning to go too. But, let her go with you. Although she's not a good person, she's still useful sometimes, Deja said. Yuanwan rolled her eyes at him. Even if he wanted to praise her, he didn't say it properly. Sima Yue hesitated for a while, then nodded. Then, I'll have to trouble you. Do you need to prepare anything? When can you set off? Yuanwan asked. I'll go and settle some things. Wait for me for a while. After saying that, Sima Yue went to the side palace and found Mou and the rest. She told them that she was leaving the palace. We don't have any problems. However, is Fushi going too? The Black Shadow asked. Fushi. Sima Yue looked at the child who was staring at her with his eyes wide open. She said to Mou. Fushi, can you follow Mou for a while? When I'm back, I'll bring you back. Fushi wasn't from the ghost world and had the dragon god order. If the ghost king wasn't in seclusion, he could still be safe. However, now that there was an Oniheim eyeing him covetously, he couldn't stay in the palace. However, it was even more unrealistic for her to bring him to the ancient battlefield. Not to mention where he went, she had to take care of him. He had just undergone electroshock treatment, and it wasn't suitable for him to travel long distances. Fushi also understood that he was now a burden to her. So he agreed to her arrangement. However, will this affect his recovery? Mou asked. I originally planned to observe for a period of time after the second treatment, before proceeding with the subsequent treatment. The growth of the body was a continuous process, and there wouldn't be any obvious changes in a short period of time. I'll be back in 2 months. Sima Yue said. Fushi's body only had half a year left. She didn't have that much time to waste. However, she was still a little worried. She was afraid that if something happened, then Fushi would. Wu Lingyu walked over and held her hand, saying, Actually, you can put him in my little realm. If anything happens, we'll know immediately. Can I? Sima Yue looked at Wu Lingyu happily. If he agreed, then this problem would be solved easily. Although I don't really like Little Ghost, since you want to cure him, I can only support you. Wu Lingyu said. Thank you, Lingyu. Sima Yue smiled at him gratefully and said, Fushi, you can go to Lingyu's little realm. This way, there won't be any delays. Okay. After that, Wu Lingyu opened the little realm and brought Fushi in. Sima Yue then brought them to find Yuanwan and set off with her. Yuanwan didn't bring many people. There were only 20 people in total. However, she said that these people had their own abilities and could fight against 100 people. Using Yuanwan's method, they only took a few days to reach the entrance of the little realm. They found this little realm by accident. I asked them to go out and check the ancient battlefield, but I didn't expect them to find it here. Yuanwan explained to them. After I received the news, I went inside to check. There were indeed ancient souls. However, the people guarding inside said that this little realm was connected to the Soul Society, so they seemed to have people coming in too. However, the people from both sides didn't meet each other directly. The people from the Soul Clan have a strong desire for souls. If they know that there are ancient souls here, I'm afraid they will come and snatch them. Mou, who asked to come along because he was bored, said. Indeed. That's why we want to get the 100 Ghost banner as soon as possible to keep those ancient souls, Yuanwan said. She used the barrier-breaking stone to open the little realm. Once she entered, she saw some aristocrats. When those people saw her, they immediately went forward and bowed. Princess, how's the situation in the little realm? Yuanwan asked. Seeing that they were injured, she frowned. What happened? Princess, the people from the Soul Clan have indeed arrived. The guard lowered his head and said, And they have already entered the ancient battlefield. What did you say? Aren't you guarding here? The people from the ghost realm are Yanjin. Yanjin is actually here? Yuanwan's heart sank. Seeing that they were all in low spirits, she said, Forget it. It's already not easy for you to stay alive after encountering them. Who is this Yanjin? Sima Yue asked. He's the second in charge of the main sect. Mou said. This person's sound attack is superb. Even a leaf can be turned into a killing weapon in his hands. If even you say so, it seems like this person is not simple. The second in charge of the main sect. I wonder if he knows about what happened in Immortal Sorcerer City. Sima Yue felt that she was a little clashing with the main sect. Whether he knows or not, he's not someone to be trifled with. You have to be careful, Yuanwan said. Actually, according to her thoughts, when she knew that Yanjin was here, she wanted Sima Yue to go back. However, after thinking about what Deja said to her, she decided to forget it. Even if she said it, Sima Yue would probably ignore it. How many people did they bring? How long have they been in there? Sima Yue asked. Not many. Just 3 people. However, all 3 of them are very powerful. They have been in there for almost half a day. Then we can still catch up with them if we go in, Sima Yue said. Cousin Wanwan, since the other party is using sound attacks, don't bring your people in. Sound attacks were very lethal against group attacks. It was useless for those people to go in. They would just be sacrificing themselves in vain. Yuanwan understood as well. Hence, after thinking for a while, she agreed. Indeed, sound attacks were different from other attacks. Even if they wanted to go in, they could not be meat shields. In the end, she only chose 4 people to go in with her. Sima Yue and the rest went in. The 4 guards led the way in front while the rest followed behind. Once they entered the ancient battlefield, they felt waves of cold air floating around. Some of them even had spiritual intelligence. When they saw them, they took the initiative to attack them. However, they were purified by Sima Yue's fire. Chapter 1966. The ancient battlefield here couldn't be compared to the one in the immortal land. However, there were still many dangers. Behind the aura with spiritual intelligence, there were broken spaces. If they weren't careful, they would be torn apart by these broken spaces. Be careful, Sima Yue shouted. At the same time, she turned her spiritual power into a rope and tied Yuanwan and the 4 people in front of her. She pulled them back forcefully. The clothes of the guard in front floated up and suddenly broke from the middle. Everyone watched as the corner of the clothes was torn into pieces and disappeared. Yuanwan had never been so deep into this ancient battlefield before. Thus, she didn't know the situation here. There were a few times when she almost fell into the broken spaces. This time, Yue saved her again. Thank you, Yue. If not for you, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to get out. Yuanwan said gratefully. You're welcome. You did it for my mother. Sima Yue said. However, we've just entered the ancient battlefield and there are so many broken spaces. The closer we get to the center, the more there will be. Although it's dangerous, there are also benefits. Wu Lingyu said. This way Yanjin and the rest won't be able to walk fast. Indeed. Sima Yue agreed with him and said to Yuanwan. Cousin Wanwan, I'm afraid the road ahead will be more dangerous. You guys aren't familiar with the space. Why don't you go back the same way first? According to the route we took just now, it's safe to go back. She didn't say it clearly, but everyone understood what she meant. They weren't sensitive to space, and it was easy for what happened just now to happen. If such a situation happened again, firstly, they would be in more danger. Secondly, they would be a burden and affect the entire express delivery. If Yanjin and the rest didn't walk fast, they would want to chase after them quickly. It was indeed inconvenient to bring the 5 of them along. Although Yuanwan was worried about her safety, she understood that she wouldn't be of much help if she stayed. Thus she agreed. All right, we won't be a burden to you. Yanjin isn't easy to deal with. You guys have to be careful. We will. Remember to take the long way back. Sima Yue liked this cousin of hers more now, although she always looked at her like an elder. All right. Yuanwan led them back to where they came from, and Sima Yue and the rest continued to move forward. Since they didn't know which direction Yanjin and the others had gone and where they were now, they had to speed up. With 5 less people, their team's range had shrunk quite a bit. In this place full of spatial faults, it was much more convenient. Every time they encountered a fault, they could quickly react and avoid it. At the same time, a few hundred miles away from them, Yanjin was leading 2 people towards the center. Yanqi, we have been walking for so many days and we haven't even seen a shadow. Are you sure there are ancient war souls here? Xiahun questioned. If you don't believe me, you don't have to follow me. Yanjin said indifferently, not putting the evil soul in his eyes at all. Yanqi, what kind of attitude is this? We're working for the general this time. If you mess it up, the general won't forgive you. Evil soul shouted. Yanjin didn't even want to look at him. You're Kuhi's subordinate, commander. I'm not. If something happens, Rook won't blame me. Aren't you an array master yourself? Then you can walk on your own. You don't have to follow us. If I can walk on my own, why would I need you guys? Evil soul looked at Bandit E, who was beside Yanjin. Everyone in the Soul Society knew that this person was very skilled in arrays. His understanding of space had already reached the acme of perfection. Along the way, he had already discovered many broken spaces and spatial faults, which had saved his life a few times. If he didn't follow him, he wouldn't be able to walk 2 miles with his level. It was hateful that such a talent only listened to Yanjin and wasn't willing to be used by the general. If not, why would he need to bring Yanjin here? Thinking about Yanjin's arrogant look, he was furious. One day he would ruthlessly step on him under his feet. Someone's coming. Bandit E, who had been silent, suddenly spoke. Evil soul sensed for a while. There was no one around. He said in disbelief. I didn't sense anyone nearby. How do you know? There's a fluctuation in space, Bandit E said. Alright, if this guy said so, then it should be the case. To be able to walk into your sensing range, it seems like the other party has a powerful array master, Yanjin said. I wonder who it is. Could it be Deja and Yuanwan? If it's them, we can use these spatial faults to settle them here. If the ghost world doesn't have Deja, its strength will be greatly reduced, Evil Soul said excitedly. The people they met outside previously were Yuanwan's people. He wanted to settle them, but Yanjin said to quickly come in to collect the ancient souls, and not to waste time there. Thus he gave up. If it was Deja and Yuanwan who came this time, he would definitely not let go of this opportunity. Yanjin looked at Bandit E. Bandit E shook his head. He could only sense that someone was coming. As to who it was, he couldn't sense it. However, as Yanjin said, to be able to chase here so quickly, there must be a powerful array master among them. He wanted to meet this array master. Let's just wait here, Evil Soul said. No, let's continue to walk forward. Yanjin rejected his suggestion. I know you want to kill Deja, but the person who came might not be Deja. Let's go and collect the ancient souls first. Since they came here, their target must be the ancient souls. When we reach the center of the ancient battlefield and collect the ancient souls, they will be here too. You're right. Then let's go to the center and wait for them. Evil Soul agreed, and the 3 of them continued to walk forward. Bandit E was more serious than before. He avoided many dangers in advance and sped up their speed. At this moment, Sima Yue also sensed their presence. Yanjin and the rest are in front. They should have noticed us and sped up, she said. They should have brought Bandit E, Mou said. Who is Bandit E? He's the best array master in the Soul Society. He doesn't belong to any forces, and is Yanjin's friend. He only listens to Yanjin. Qing Hun's words are useless to him. Qing Hun allowed such a person to exist. Sima Yue was a little surprised. A person who didn't belong to any forces. As a ruler, he wouldn't want to miss such a talent. However, Qing Hun allowed him to have such a good relationship with the second in charge of the main sect. It said that he sent people to capture him, but they were all wiped out. Mou explained the reason in one sentence. Among all the professional masters, array masters were the most powerful. One array could kill many people. It could attack and defend. Its combat power was extraordinary. It seemed that Bandit E was indeed powerful. Chapter 1967. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window free to read. No matter how powerful that Bandit one is, he can't stop me from finding the ancient war soul. Sima Yue said. They increased their speed. I think they want to catch the ancient war soul in front of us. They might even want to dig a hole for us. Then we have to increase our speed. If we let them catch the ancient war soul, we would have wasted our time. Black Shadow said. We really have to increase our speed, Sima said. But we won't take this route. Not here? Then where should we go? Let's go one round. In this small space, she and Bandit 1 could feel each other's presence. If they chased after them, they would only give Bandit 1 a chance to kill them. Why not go one round? Although it would take some time, it would be safer, and Bandit 1 wouldn't be able to judge their speed based on their position. Thus, they changed their route and went in a different direction. They're gone, Bandit 1 said. So we've already shaken them off, Evil Spirit said. We've shaken them off so quickly, seems like their array master isn't as good as you, Bandit 1. Bandit 1 ignored his flattery and said to Yanjin, there's another possibility, they didn't take this route. How is that possible? They definitely know that we came in, they know that we're in front of them. If they didn't take this route, how could they catch up with us? Evil Spirit said disapprovingly. Their route was the shortest route. If they didn't take this route, they would have to take a long detour. For the current situation, it was indeed impossible. Let's not care about them. Let's go and catch the ancient war soul, Yanjin said. As long as they could catch the ancient war soul, their mission would be completed. No matter if the other party took this route, once they got the ancient war soul, it would be useless for them to play any tricks. They continued to move forward. The closer they got to the center of the battlefield, the more unstable the space was. They had no choice but to slow down. They walked cautiously for a few days. According to our previous calculations, we'll reach the center of the battlefield in half a day. When we reach there, we'll meet the ancient war soul, Bandit 1 said. Then let's hurry. The evil soul was excited at the thought of being able to find the ancient war soul. Yanjin glanced at him. He didn't know why Kohi would choose such a person as his commander. He had seen a few of the 10 great commanders before, and all of them were outstanding talents. How could this person be this kind of trash? It can't be fast, Bandit said. The space here is very unstable. Once it collapses, we might not even be able to preserve this little realm. If this little realm is destroyed, then those war spirits will also disappear. Alright, the evil soul didn't say anything. In any case, if they weren't fast enough, the people behind them wouldn't be able to get ahead either. Half a day later, they arrived at the center of the ancient battlefield. As soon as they entered the area, they saw a few ancient fighting souls floating around. Gu Zhanhuan was similar to the people from the Soul Society. They were both souls that had died. However, because they had stayed in this small space for too long, their consciousness had been erased by time, and they could only float around in a daze. If they could control them now and turn them into slaves, they wouldn't resist them when they regained their consciousness. Yanjin, we agreed before that we would split the ancient fighting souls here equally. The general is still waiting for me to bring the ancient fighting souls back to report, so I will keep these two first. The evil soul said. Up to you. Yanjin was too lazy to argue with such people. It was just 2 ancient fighting souls. The evil soul gave an affirmative reply. He took out a spirit stone and wanted to keep the 2 ancient fighting souls. The spirit stone had a nourishing effect on the soul. When a normal soul encountered the spirit stone, it would subconsciously enter it. However, the 2 ancient fighting souls glanced at the spirit stone and didn't have any intention of entering it. They are actually unwilling to enter the spirit stone. The evil soul was surprised. The spirit stone was very attractive to these souls without consciousness, but these 2 actually resisted the temptation. No, it should be said that this temptation was not enough to enter their eyes. Yanjin and Bandit were also surprised. They were indeed ancient fighting souls. Even after so many years, even if their consciousness had been erased and they were muddle-headed, they were still so powerful. Yanjin was finally interested in these ancient fighting souls, and felt that they were worthy of being his subordinates. I don't believe that you will really resist, the evil soul said as he used his spiritual power to lift the spirit stone above them. Then he condensed his spiritual power and wanted to trap them inside. However, the 2 ancient fighting souls remained in their original positions. Although his dark skill made them feel uncomfortable, they said that they were unwilling to enter the spirit stone. In fact, they didn't know how long they had been floating here, and didn't know why they were floating here. However, they were unwilling to enter the black stone. Their instincts told them that they couldn't enter that thing. Once they entered, something dangerous would happen. The evil soul increased his spiritual power. The two ancient fighting souls frowned and impatiently waved their palms at him. The evil soul was immediately flung away, and almost fell into a spatial fault. It was Yanqi who gave him a hand at the last moment that saved him. These ancient fighting souls are so strong. The evil soul touched his chest and was excited after the initial fear. Such strong ancient fighting souls. As long as he could obtain them, his strength would surpass the others. They are not easy to deal with. Bandit Yi said to Yanjin. Indeed, it is not suitable for a frontal attack. Yanjin said as he took out a jade flute and blew it gently. The ancient fighting soul's eyes were clear at the start. However, as the flute played, his eyes slowly became blurred and finally became very sad. His body emitted an aura of despair. He looked up at the spirit stone and flew into the spirit stone. Yanjin put down the jade flute, and the evil soul regained his senses from his sound attack. He immediately flew over and kept the spirit stone. Thank you so much for this. He nodded at Yanjin. His words of gratitude didn't have much sincerity. Yanjin snorted at his actions. His slender fingers held the jade flute and said faintly, Commander, you have seen these ancient fighting souls. I am afraid that with your strength, you will not be able to subdue them. The evil soul immediately held the spirit stone tightly and looked at him cautiously. What are you trying to say? We agreed that these two are mine. I have no intention of snatching them from you, Yanjin said. Then what do you mean? I mean you need my help in the future. Can you help me? Yanjin caressed the jade flute and didn't look at him. What do you want me to help you with? The evil soul knew that he didn't want to snatch the ancient fighting souls, and heaved a sigh of relief. Yanjin smiled and said, Actually, it's nothing big. I just heard that you have seen the Western God's seal in Qing Hun's hands. I want to ask you what it looks like. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.